Hello, and welcome to Hello Sister, a Vampire Diaries podcast with a magical twist.
We're your hosts, Christina Rosso-Schneider
and Brenna Dinon. Christina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm very excited for this episode because it's the Halloween episode.
It's Halloween.
And you may notice if you are watching us, we are dressed up today. So I am dressed as a vampire and Brenna is dressed as a witch. So any excuse for us to dress up, we will take. We love a theme.
We do love a theme, and Halloween, no better time, really.
No better time. And, you know, even though this episode's coming out in April, we're 6 months away from Halloween, I am sure you feel similarly to myself that you want Halloween all the time. Like, I am always counting down the days until Halloween. Yeah. You know, we both have summer birthdays. We celebrate Summerween. So we're in Springween right now, and I can't wait.
Every season is a reason to dress up. Outside of that, any other housekeeping stuff before we get into the episode?
Yeah, just reminding folks that we're on Instagram and Threads at Hello Sister Podcast. And you can always email us at hellosisterpodcast1864@gmail.com. Send us, anytime we're like, hey, do you know this? Send it in. If you have questions, if there's scenes you're dying for us to maybe do a silly reel about or whatever it is, send us an email. We want to hear from you.
Please do. We really do. We would really love to hear from you. All right, let's dive into episode 7.
This episode is called Haunted. Makes sense. Halloween episode, right? We have a different director than we've met in some of the previous episodes, Ernest Dickerson.
Wow. What a name.
What a name.
Really?
What a name. This episode is written by Kevin Williamson and Julie Pleck, our showrunners, as well as Brian Young, who we've seen his name come up a couple times, and Andrew Kreisberg. And it aired on October 29th, 2009, so really right around Halloween.
It's actually pretty great.
It is pretty great. One thing to note, too, is that because I was thinking as we were doing the rewatches for this episode, that it seemed kind of fast that we got to Halloween, from Lost Girls and the car wash, the episode before that. Well, there was a 2-week break between when this aired and Lost Girls.
Interesting. You know what? I was wondering that because seeing the date and just because as we're keeping the notes on this, so they just had a weird bye-week.
I didn't look up what it was. You can email us if you find out what it was, but it was 2 weeks after. So
okay,
kind of makes sense. So as always, I'll read the IMDb synopsis. This one might be the longest one we've had. It's 3 sentences, but I have thoughts about it. All right, it goes, Bonnie's abilities surprise Damon. Elena asks Jeremy not to see Vicki. Matt takes Vicki to the high school Halloween dance, but the night takes a terrifying turn. I mean, none of those things are incorrect, but that's not how. The only one I really would agree with is Elena asking Jeremy not to see Vicki.
That is... Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I did not read the synopsis before we started recording, and this is also, I appreciate the Bonnie's ability surprise Damon, period.
Even though that happens towards the end of the episode, it makes no sense chronologically.
No, but Elena asked Jeremy to not see Vicki, period. Also, should it be in front of the Bonnie's abilities, and then the Matt takes Vicki to high school. Interesting stuff. IMDb, don't ever change. We love you.
Don't ever change. So, Brenna, do you want to take us into the first scene?
Yes, I will. All right. So we are at our first scene. Vicki's really hungry. And we are at Mystic Falls High in the parking lot. So we open, and Tyler is walking to his car, and it's nighttime. He hears something and looks around, and when he gets into the car, Vicki is there waiting for him, and her face is shrouded by her hair, and he asks what's wrong with her because based on her response, because she's kind of just saying that she's really hungry, she seems really agitated, and he's thinking what everyone else is thinking, that she's on drugs, which honestly, the way that she's behaving doesn't feel that far out of the realm. But she finally like looks at him and she's looking normal. She's looking okay. But when he asks about what happened in the woods, so from the previous episode where there was the discovery of all those bodies, Vicki was not there. Well, that was 2 episodes ago, wasn't it? So he's trying to just what anyone would do, I think, is just try to find out like what happened since she did flee the scene, or she, was no longer on the scene when those bodies were discovered. And he's being nice to her and is like offering to like take her home and like help overall help her out. But she's getting like more agitated and that she's hungry. And then eventually she vamps out, lunges at him because she's just all out of sorts. And at the very last moment, right before she's about to bite him, Stefan just kind of yoinks her away. And then Damon also is there. Mm-hmm. Brothers bonding together, helping to capture a baby vampire. Stops Tyler from running off. Tyler is doing his like macho shit with Damon. Damon is not impressed. And Damon makes a comment about trying to kill him. And Vicki is vehemently saying no to Damon to not hurt him. And Damon eventually compels Tyler to forget seeing any of those 3 that they were there, and then like throws him very strongly onto the ground. And by the time that Tyler kind of comes to, he's getting up off the ground, nothing's there, and we assume that he doesn't really remember them being there because of Damon's compulsion. Mm-hmm. So the opening credits come after that. So, all right. Yeah. What an opening scene.
Yeah. I mean, we're back in a scene that's showing us a lot of like kind of classic horror elements, like abandoned parking lot at night, someone in your car, and having her hair, like her face covered with her hair. You have no idea what's behind it. So that's really fun. Also, so the horror opening's back. So is Tyler. We haven't seen him in a minute. So, hey, Tyler,
welcome
what's
back.
up? And I have to say, I do agree with Damon when he says, who's going to miss this idiot? Because up until this point, I wouldn't. And I mean, we've both killed Tyler in Fuck, Marry, Kill before.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he's very killable at this moment in time in our show. So,
but he's nice in this specific moment.
He is. I mean, he's definitely clearly trying to help her, and like I do, like, it's kind of like tough because I do feel bad, and like I don't want to like say this like flippantly because it's like obviously like addiction's a very serious thing, but like it is kind of rough that everybody just like is thinking her erratic behavior is like attributing to drugs, and there's just like a tough, but I mean I think that that's sort of what they're trying to like go for about how like that is. So just it's a big old open. So
all right. So then we move into our next scene, unwanted sisterly advice. We are at the Gilbert house. Elena wakes up, as she usually does at the beginning of every episode. She opens the door to the bathroom, and Jeremy is in there. And she is surprised that he's up early. And he tells her he's going to go to the police station to aid in the search party for Vicki. Elena says, you should go to school. And he blows her off.
Not having it.
Yeah. So this will be one of several times early in this episode where someone is like, but you should go to school. And I agree because we haven't seen them in school very often.
Since like the beginning episodes.
Yeah.
Our next scene is called Fall Time Phone Tag. And we are at Mystic Falls High again. And outside we see students setting up for a bunch of like fall/Halloween activities with decorations, jack-o'-lanterns, bales of hay. It's fall on fall in Mystic Halls. Fall in Mystic Falls.
I feel like you were getting like Mystic Halloween
halls. The halls will be decked with Halloween stuff. Okay.
Skeletons.
Inside we see Matt, and welcome back to, oh no, Matt was in our last episode. Mm-hmm. He was with us. Matt's cell phone rings, and it's Vicki. She's at the Salvatore boarding house, but she won't tell him where she is and says he shouldn't worry about her. And then she hangs up on him. He is not amused.
Yeah, my only thought, and it has nothing to do with that, is literally when you're watching the scene, there is this fake arm dangling out of one of the lockers, and I just love it so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty great. On to our next scene.
Yeah. So our next scene is, why can't I have people blood? And we were
That's actually really good. That was really good.
I tried. We were at the Salvatore boarding house, sitting in a room with the blinds drawn. Vicki tells Stefan she wants to go home. So we can assume this is probably right after she called Matt. He says she can't go home. And then we see that Damon is also in the room. And he comments on how there's nothing about Logan in the newspaper, right? Because he presumably killed Logan in the last episode. And he realizes that it probably means there's some kind of cover up going on, right? Just like, obviously, the town was using animal attacks as a cover up. He's fiddling with the vampire compass, and as like Vicki and Stefan are doing their thing, Damon's like, don't you guys want to know like what they were doing with this compass and what this council's up to? And Stefan's reaction is like, he's kind of snotty towards him, which I support, but Damon doesn't have a good point here. But Stefan says, if you're really that worried, you should just leave town. And Damon reminds him that they should all be worried, right? Because the council knows that at least a vampire is in Mystic Falls, and they have this vampire compass. Well, they had this vampire compass, right? So, like, what else might they have to, find them out? Vicki's not super interested in that. She brings up how hungry she is. Stefan gives her a cup of animal blood. And Damon says that since she is saying to Stefan, like, she needs human blood, she's a new vampire. And this is when Vicki says the line of, like, why can't I drink people blood, right? Damon then tells her that feeding, because Stefan's like, you're going to hurt someone, you can't control your hunger. And Damon tells her feeding doesn't have to equal killing, and that she can find a person, feed, and erase their memory, aka snatch, eat, and erase. This is the first time we hear this in the Vampire Diaries, as a little bit of trivia, but we will continue to hear a snatch, eat, and erase throughout the series. Stefan, ever the practical brother, right, and cautious brother, says there's no guarantee she'd be able to control herself if she was feeding on a human. And if she accidentally kills someone, she has to live with that for an eternity. Damon leaves at this point, and Vicki asks for more blood. So, thoughts about this?
It's sus that Logan isn't reported on at all. That's all I'll say for right now.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
And the compass.
Yeah.
Like, that is another thing too. I feel like the compass being like, I don't disagree with Damon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Damon's trying to get the facts. He's trying to figure out what is it that the council knows, because now everybody's kind of becoming aware of each other at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a great example, and we'll see how it goes throughout the rest of the episode, but in this moment, it's a great example of how the brothers focus, like, they want the same thing, but their focus is different. So, Damon's really taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, and Stefan's just focused on Vicki and the problem in front of him, right? And there are pluses and minuses to that on both ends.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know that, like, there's more to come in the later scene, but it is interesting just already seeing their different philosophies and how to handle a baby vampire, right? Like, there's a little bit of truth, I feel like, to both of their methods. Potentially.
They're like daddy vamps in this episode.
They are daddy vamps. Oh my goodness, they are daddy vamps, aren't they? Just in general. Okay. All right. So on to our next scene. We are, which is titled Little Miss on a Mission. And we are at the Salvatore boarding house still. And downstairs the doorbell rings. And Damon smirks before going to answer it. And it's interesting. Well, maybe we'll wait till, like, after I go through the scene and then we can talk about it. But I clocked that on my most recent watch, and I was like, huh. But who's at the door? Elena. She asks for Stefan, and the two kind of verbally spar with each other. Damon casually threatens her, and Elena fires back that if he wanted to kill her, he would have done it. And like and he still again kind of does the retort about like he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
So, and then she asks where Stefan is, and then he tells her that he's upstairs, and he walks past her to go outside, and he seems like pretty like pleased with himself. Elena goes inside, and Stefan appears on the stairs. And when when she asks where Vicki is, he says upstairs. And then Stefan comes down, and Elena, understandably, is just asking kind of what happens next at this point, since she is now a full vampire. And she says that Jeremy's out searching for Vicki, and the rest of the town are also doing the same. So she wants to know, like, what is she supposed to do with this at this point? Like, and especially to Jeremy, right? So Stefan says he's working with Vicki, but it'll take time before her impulsive personality is going to factor into her vampirism. Elena is upset about lying to everyone, understandably, and everyone she cares about. And she says that she wants to know what's going to happen to Vicki. Like, what is this mean now? Like, how are we going to get through this? Stefan says he's going to keep helping her, but gonna keep her at the boarding house until he knows that she's safe. And then from upstairs, Vicki just pops on down, asking how long that will be, and Stefan sidesteps her question, and Elena tries to see how Vicki's doing, says hello to her, and Vicki claps back saying, "You're kidding, right?" And this is just a fun little kind of like scene with two scenes kind of in one, right? So we have Elena over here. So I know that you had some thoughts about this.
Yeah, I feel like Elena keeps flip-flopping about how she feels about vampires.
Yeah.
She's like afraid of them, right? Like was desperately trying to run away from Stefan an episode ago, right? And she tried to keep Damon out of the house in the last episode, right? So she seemed to have, like, her fear had amped up.
Yeah.
Appropriately so, I would say, for the most part. Like, I'm still on the side of, like, Stefan didn't show her anything that she was in danger around him. Yeah. So I feel like her response was maybe a little dramatic, in my opinion, towards him. But in general, like, she's still figuring out what this all means. But, like, to just show up at a house with all vampires, one of them is a baby vampire, like, I just feel like that's maybe not the safest option.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and it is really crazy that, like, especially with Damon specifically, like, just are willing to be a little sassy to him, even though it's very clear that he's threatening.
Which I do appreciate that she's like, screw you.
Yeah. We gotta give her credit for that. And so one thing that's kind of fun that I just, for whatever reason, zeroed in on is that in that exchange between Damon and Elena, he says that Stefan is singing the Rain in Spain, like upstairs, which is a reference to the song, like The Rain in Spain, from the musical My Fair Lady, which is a musical, if for those who may or may not know, which is a musical based on the play Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw, which is about an English Cockney woman named Eliza Doolittle who goes to a Phoenician, I think that's that a Phoenician, to learn how to talk like a lady, and it's kind of, I feel like that's a fun pull because it's paralleling what the brothers are sort of doing with Vicki, mostly Stefan, but trying to kind of adjust her to the ways of being like a proper vampire. So I just thought that was kind of fun. And yeah, I don't like, how about like personality human vampires, like, or human to vampire personalities? Like, how do we feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. So I think I had said this last episode, but or maybe I thought about talking about it this episode, I don't remember, but, you know, this is our first vampire transition that we've seen on the show. So getting to learn that the impulsive aspects of her personality are heightened in her vampirism and come with her, I think is really interesting because we don't know what the Salvatore brothers were like pre vampires.
Right.
So, we've seen obviously a couple scenes from Lost Girls last week, but we don't know how different or the same their personalities were then versus now. And also they've been vampires for almost 150 years. So, I'd hope they've grown
Yeah.
in that and maybe shifted and evolved in that amount of time. But so I think that is really interesting.
I agree. And then there was this other thing. I think this was so she's a vampire with issues.
Yeah, I do love that. It was a great line by Elena.
Elena. She's pretty feisty in this episode, I feel like. I can't wait to talk about her in towards the latter part.
Yeah, can't wait. So then we move to our next scene. You have to have more ignorance to trap a real witch. And we're at Grams's house. Yay! Excited to spend more time with Grams. So we see Grams lighting candles around the living room as Bonnie sits on the couch and she's asking question about their lineage of witches. We learn that the Bennets fled Salem in 1692 and relocated to Mystic Falls, and that for over a century they lived in secret very much.
For over a century, I've lived in secret.
I literally thought that as I typed that. So, yes. Grams tells Bonnie, too, that it's important for them to continue to live in secret. And, Bonnie's like, but everyone knows you're a witch, Grams. And she's like, yeah, but no one believes it. They just think I'm this, this kooky professor of the occult at a local university. So we learned that. Super cool. The first few episodes, every time Grams is talked about, they're just making her out to be a big lush. And here she is, like, this dope-ass lady.
She's a professor of the occult.
Right.
I would take a class from Grams.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Can't believe them.
So then Bonnie is like, I've been here for 2 days and all we've done is talking. When do we get to fun? When do we get to witchcraft? And Graham warns her that magic isn't meant to be fun and she needs to understand it before she can practice it. I do have to say this specific piece of advice will come up repeatedly throughout the show. And then Graham's, like Elena to Jeremy, is like, girl, you got to go to school.
You got to go to school.
So I love getting to finally learn more about Bonnie and the Bennets. And so that's really fun. And then I have timeline thoughts because we've talked about this a lot in the previous episodes, and it's driving my OCD up a wall. So I'm tracking it. And Bonnie says she's been with Grams for 2 days, and we see her at the end of episode 5, because we don't see her in episode 6, going to Grams's house, and she's upset, and she's like, I don't know what's happening to me, right? So it's been 2 days since then, okay? Which makes sense because in Lost Girls, Stefan tells Elena, give me a day, right? So, trying to figure that out. If she spent all weekend with Grams, that means that the car wash was Friday, which is still kind of confusing unless it was an after school car wash, which is possible.
Or maybe an early dismissal.
When I was a cheerleader, we did our car washes on weekends. Yeah. But, Okay. Yeah. So let's say it was Friday afternoon. So then Saturday was when Stefan takes Elena to see the ruins of the original Salvatore mansion. And so that would make today Monday. And then this means that the founders party, so now we're thinking all the way back to episode 4, this would mean that the founders party would have been on a weekday because that takes place through the 3 or 4 days before the car wash. But we've talked about this before or guessed about it. If it's a set holiday for this town, they probably shut everything down to have this party.
For sure.
So I'm going to keep tracking this timeline, but we finally have some answers. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is Christina's timeline corner. On to our next scene, Locked Lip Lockwoods. We are at the grill. Shocker. we got to be there at some point. So we're at Mystic Grill, and the mayor and Mrs. Lockwood are discussing their major fuck up from last episode.
They really are.
And you know what? That's fine. Yeah, they got to lick their wounds somehow, and why not do that over some food at the grill? So the mayor calls Logan a weasel and says they never should have trusted him. And Mrs. Lockwood asks a series of questions regarding a vampire or vampires. How many? Are we in danger? And also is questioning the gender of the vampire. I'm so glad that as shitty as Mrs. Lockwood is, as we've known her to be so far, at least she is being concerned about
identity, right?
Identity. Yeah. Good job, Queen. Okay, so the mayor says if the vampire has historical knowledge of the town, then they are in fact in danger, and they will need to find the vampire which is what Mayor Lockwood calls it, before it finds them. And then we see the camera panning back to show us Damon using his vampiring to listen in on the bar. So, oops, you thought you were being a little stealthy doing this at the grill, and one of your vampires is listening in on every word.
Which, this is probably why he looks so pleased when he's leaving Salvatore boarding house, which I realized you didn't go back to when he smirks before opening the door. You were going to say something about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, no, just I think that, like, do we think that he, with his vampiring, like, do you think he knows Elena's footsteps?
I think that heard her heartbeat, or he could smell her.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those things, because it's like, not that it could really be that many other people, because I don't know if they're having that many callers at the house, but like, there was like that smirk was definitely like he knew it was her specifically. Yeah. So that was interesting to me. Anyways, we're getting more adults again. We love this. We have more adults back in the episode.
I mean, I'd be fine if we didn't see Mayor Lockwood.
Yeah,
again,
he sucks, but
you know, I have some appreciation for Mrs. Lockwood here, because I feel like not only is she, in a way, humanizing the vampire, right? By being like, is it an it, or is it a he, or is it a she, or, you know, in today's world, we'd say, is it a they? Yeah. I really like that, and it shows how, and I mean, we'll have to see how these two characters develop moving forward in the season, but it does nod to he seeing nothing human in these vampires and these creatures, right? They're just they're just animals. Yeah. And she's like, no, like maybe they're more evolved than that. Yeah. And whether or not she's sympathetic to them, it does show a more humanizing approach to them, which I think is interesting. But also she's asking smart questions. Yeah. Like her husband is just like fuck Logan. Like, why do we trust him? Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, why did you trust him? But she's meanwhile like, how many vampires do you think you are? And do we know a gender? And are we in danger? And I'm like, yes, these are the questions we should be asking.
She's doing vampire math, really.
She's doing vampire math. And honestly, I think it's like a very femme thing to be observant enough to, because you have to be like aware of all of these things.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, you know, even though she's been rude AF in previous episodes, I'm giving her some points in this scene.
I do appreciate Mrs. Lockwood for being on point and asking questions. And I also actually have some questions, so to her line of questions, here are some of mine. Why are they meeting to talk about vampires at the grill? Can't they just talk about this at home? On a cell phone? Though I will give it to them that they are presumably thinking that if they are discussing out in the daytime that a vampire would not be at the grill. So that's probably why they're not as concerned about talking about it in the open. But it's still very, like, could you imagine? Now, I mean, obviously, Vicki, now a vampire. So she's not working at the grill. So, but Vicki, there was a version of this where had Vicki not become a vampire, could have been serving them while they're talking about vampires, which would have been, you know, I don't know, maybe they'd stop talking. But sometimes, you know, you never know when a server like comes up, like they can definitely like swoop by you and like hear information. So that's just a very open public place to be talking about something like this.
The only thing I can think of is that Mayor Lockwood has an office in downtown and like they're meeting on his lunch break or something. But you bring up such good points. They have this huge fucking house.
They
have like 75 salons.
They could ask questions in any of those salons, really.
Right. And to their knowledge, they haven't invited any vampires in. So could you be safer? This does feel like sensitive material.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I just, those were my questions. But also then my final question is this the first time we're seeing Damon sit at the bar at the grill? I don't know if he's sat there yet. Has he?
I think it is.
Might be. Correct us if I'm wrong.
I feel like he might sit at the bar when Jeremy's sitting at the bar at one point.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, obviously, in the second episode, we see him at the coffee shop, which becomes the grill. But this might be the first time we're seeing him at the bar.
So it just an iconic place for one Damon Salvatore.
Yes, we will see him there a lot. Well, I think it's the only bar in town. So.
It's the only restaurant and it's the only bar.
He'll go to any watering hole. So our next scene, don't be bitter. It provokes wrinkles.
I love this.
It's a great line by Bonnie Bennett. We are at Mystic Falls High in the hallway. We spend so much time in the hallways. Halloween decorating continues. Matt puts his books in his locker.
Okay, so there we go. Here is it.
Tyler approaches, bringing up the search party for Vicki, and Matt's being kind of like cold towards him and says, Vicki just called. She's okay. And Tyler's really relieved to hear this and says, if there's anything I can do, let me know. And Matt's just kind of like, okay, right? Like, I don't think he's forgiven him for what's happened in the previous episode.
No.
In a different part of the hallway, Caroline meets up with Bonnie, saying she got Bonnie's costume. It is a very obvious witch costume. And Bonnie is not amused. I kind of feel like, based off of what she was saying to Grams earlier, like, wouldn't she be amused? She wants to do the fun witchy stuff, so wouldn't it feel like, she's like dressing. I don't know. I always have fun when I dress like extra witchy. How do you feel right now, Brenna, being extra witchy right now?
I'm always here for it. Like, one, when people dress up as witches, I don't have a problem with it as a witch. And I also like dressing up as a canonical witch at times with a hat and all. But my wardrobe is unapologetically witchy, like yours is. Yes. So I'm here for it all, really. So I don't know. Maybe because she it feel not that it's like making fun, but how like sometimes with Halloween, this is very much a thing out there, like just being mindful of like appropriating certain things with costumes, and so maybe she's feeling a little like that's a little too on the nose, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Caroline then goes on, like, as Bonnie's pulling stuff out of his bag, Caroline expresses frustration that no one, including Bonnie, seems excited about Halloween, and she just wants to have fun, particularly Damon-free fun, and I don't blame her. So from the bag that Caroline gave her, Bonnie pulls out the crystal. Ooh. Caroline tells her to wear it or toss it.
She doesn't care.
She doesn't care. She then asks if Bonnie has seen Elena and if she knows what Elena is wearing. Bonnie doesn't know, she says, because she was with Grams all weekend, and says Elena's probably with Stefan, which Caroline is snarky about.
She's like, what did she say? Something about like being on like his white horse or something like that? Or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The competition between them continues, right? Bonnie tells her not to be bitter, mentioning that it provokes wrinkles. And I love this. I didn't catch this until I think my second rewatch of this episode, that as the girls are walking down the hall, like presumably going to class, Caroline is like, it's like feeling she has frown lines.
It's such a good touch by Candace King.
So good. It's
like,
so
I don't know
good.
if that was like in the direction or if that's just something that she chose to do, but I also had the same thing. Like, I don't think I caught it in my first watch through, but in a subsequent one, I was like, that's incredible. She's like,
it's so good. It's so subtle, but it's so good. So thoughts. Don't blame Matt for being icy towards Tyler, but I we're continuing to see some good behavior from Tyler, right? Like, he does seem genuine when he approaches Matt. And so him trying to make some amends, cool. I also think this scene exists to show us that Tyler has no memory. The compulsion worked. He does not know he saw Vicki and almost became a little snacky snack for her.
Would you like to say what you wrote in the notes on
trying to chomp him? For you saying it in a
hand chomp and a chomp chomp.
And a chomp.
It's a 1-2 chomp.
And a 4 and a 5
and a 1-2 chomp. Oh God. Okay. Oh my God. All right. So
I hope you find us as entertaining as we find ourselves.
I also agree. I think I am very happy with Matt being icy. It just feels because Matt's been just kind of just not really, he's just, the people around him are just been kind of the worst. And I'm glad that he's not just, you know, like finding like solace in Tyler or anyway, even though I'm glad that Tyler's giving it, but like, yeah, he deserves to be a little iced out.
Yeah. I'm super excited that our girls are back.
Finally.
Right? We missed them last episode in the titular Lost Girls. We were missing Bonnie and Caroline.
The Lost Girls have been found.
They have been found.
Though Dwight did tell us tonight that he thinks that the actual Lost Girls of our last episode were Catherine and Vicki. Which
I can get around, but I mean, I feel like Vicki's obvious. I have some thought. I don't know, but I can see how you can make that argument.
Maybe. I mean, lost to time, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things I love besides Caroline, like Candace King, that like checking for wrinkles, is that Caroline is so perfectly quintessential high school girl here, right? Wanting to get rid of the quote unquote gift that Damon gave her and acting like she doesn't care what Bonnie does with it when she so clearly does. And then resenting Elena for having a nice boyfriend. Like, it is just so quintessential high school, and honestly, no one does it better than Caroline.
No, she doesn't. And also her just being like, why isn't anybody else excited?
Which, like, everyone should always be excited about Halloween.
Yeah. So. I honestly, I'm with her in that moment.
I've already figured out my costume for this year, so.
We love that. I'm not gonna ask so that you don't spoil it unless you want to spoil it. But that's up to you.
I'm gonna be the bride.
From The Bride.
The Bride. Movie. Which, again, we record a few weeks before the episode comes out. If you haven't seen the movie, you have to see it. It is, I mean, it's sensational. It's super weird. It's super feminist. It's super angry. It's campy. It's honestly, I haven't seen really any other movies like it before. And I think Maggie Gyllenhaal really delivers on her vision, and Jessie Buckley, who at this point has just won an Oscar for Hamnet. She just absolutely slays. And if she doesn't get nominated for an Oscar for this role, I'm going to scream.
I'm so interested because I feel like a lot of the like film hubbub around that movie in particular has been like some people are like not vibing with it. Yeah, people are, but I'm always here to watch a film for my own self and make my own determination.
I think you're gonna really like it.
I love like Frankenstein-esque stories. Like, I love Lisa Frankenstein.
I didn't love Lisa Frankenstein.
Really? Oh, I loved Lisa Frankenstein. She, like, I don't know. Like, that's like a weird girl movie. I feel like if that came out when I was in like high school, middle school, I would have been like, this is it. But hey, that's why, you know, art is subjective. Okay. So, yeah, I think just, again, we've talked about the like finding her, like the wrinkles, and Caroline choosing the on the nose costume for Bonnie is something else. So I can't wait to see everyone in their costumes.
Can't wait.
All right. So on to our next scene. Why do I have to pee? I thought I was dead. We're back at the Salvatore boarding house. And Stefan tries to teach Vicki how to be a vampire, and Elena listens. Vicki wants to drink human blood and asks Stefan about him drinking it, and he says he hasn't in a long time, and he's not proud of his past behavior. I love this, like, like, it's one of those things where he's like trying not to reveal too much because Elena's sitting right there.
Like this.
Like just sitting there, and he's like, well, it was a long time ago. Like
Vicky's like, but what about this? But what about
and it's very, I love that little like that table dynamic. But Vicki kind of continues the conversation, complaining about not being able to go out into the sun and feeling hungover all the time. And she's asking if that's gonna stop. And then she's like, I gotta pee. And then she feels like that's weird because it is weird because she's dead. And but I guess in this universe, vampires do pee because like Stefan doesn't react to it. He doesn't say like that's just your body doing something weird. He just says it's over. Like he does tell her where the bathroom is. So I guess they pee. That's a new thing we can add to the lore.
Yeah, they pee, they sleep. Yeah.
And then Stefan tells Elena that he's going to go get her some more blood and that he'll be right back. And then while like that's happening, I guess like Elena's kind of like walking around a little bit, and Vicki comes back and starts dialing a phone number. And when Elena asks who Vicki's calling, she says Jeremy, and Elena gets like very serious, right into big sister mode. Says that like she can't talk to Jeremy anymore, and that they essentially need to break up. To which Vicki is basically like, no, definitely not. And it escalates, like the altercation escalates until Vicki grabs Elena by the throat, shoving her up against the wall. Because I think there obviously was some like deep-seated feeling that I think that Vicki's always held, is that like she's not good enough for people, like especially like, you know, with Tyler, and then even with that. So that's something I forget the exact line that she says about it, and we didn't like quote that, but her basically saying like, oh, was this like I think that you know, I'm not good enough thing is like before I was a vampire. You know, she's very like on the nose with how Elena must feel. So she's like taking that very personally, even though obviously like that's not what Elena's trying to do. She's just trying to be like, no, like the circumstances have changed. Like you can't be doing that just because of like you're now a vampire and my brother is a high school teenage boy.
Right.
So
she says, how long have you been preparing the "you're not good enough" speech? I'm assuming it predates the whole vampire thing.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
And goes on to continue.
Yeah. So, but very scary stuff of her just the escalating to grabbing Elena's throat, which is tough. And she says that Vicki says that she'll see Jeremy anytime she wants, and brings up about how Elena's treated Matt, and that she ultimately will rip Elena's head off if she wants to, which is threatening, but also again like her pulling from and going back to what you were saying earlier, what we were saying earlier with the vampire, like when someone becomes a vampire, their personality kind of comes with it. So it's like these are grievances that like human Vicki had, but maybe wasn't saying aloud, and then is just now, because of just the changes that are going on, they are perturbing her a lot more. So she's not being shy about sharing them.
No, she's not. I will say that I find it cringy in this when she's like, I'm going to see Jeremy every time because I have some new toys to play with. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I actually, like, I'm in my 30s and I don't know what that means.
What toys do you have to play? I don't know what she means.
But I don't know. But she literally is reacting like someone told her she can't play with a toy. And she's a toddler.
And this is Elena's brother,
who she apparently cares for. So, but, you know, we'll unpack that more. I also wanted to say I thought it was super interesting to add to the list of vampire lore. They can pee. But also that caffeine helps to kind of reduce hunger and improves their circulation, making them appear warmer. So they'll feel warmer to humans. And that caffeine is like in real life, caffeine is a hunger suppressant. But also with a person with asthma, caffeine is specifically recommended when I'm having respiratory issues.
Oh, really?
So this tracks of like helping with circulation and everything. I was like, oh, okay.
That's awesome. I mean, not awesome that you have to deal with that, but it's like interesting with the correlations, right? And I don't know if we like finished the scene out, but just essentially the end of the scene is just she lets Elena leave, and she's just like grasping her throat, which is tough. I said this a little bit earlier, but like Elena judging Stefan for drinking human blood was again, just kind of funny. Uh, do you have thoughts about like Stefan's absence when these two girls are scuffling?
Yeah, I mean, Stefan, did we think this was a good idea? It goes back to my like, Elena, did you think it was a good idea to go there? And then where is Stefan? Like, does he have bunny blood in the cellar? Is he in the woods hunting a bunny? Like, what? Where is
where's he getting the blood from?
Because I want to know how far away he is. Can he hear what's happening? Because every time I watch the scene, even though I've seen the show, I'm like waiting for him to be who breaks it up, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And we'll see in the next scene that Elena tells him about it. Like, it doesn't even seem like he's witnessed it at all. I'm like, bro, where'd you go?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, like,
and why was this a good idea?
Because you should have well, I mean, I guess like do you think they like have to turn the vamp hearing on? I mean, I guess maybe they have to really be like concentrating on it to like.
We will see later in the show. This is not a spoiler. I'm not going to say who it is, but we do see later in the show any female vampires or people with longer hair start to do this when they want to concentrate. And I'm like, but if you have this amount of hair is not going to stop
Not going to hinder your hearing.
unless you have like Gretchen Wiener's hair.
Yeah.
And your hair's full of secrets.
Full of secrets. So that's intriguing that he doesn't like come to break that up. But there is something that I feel like, even though it is a little like scary how Vicki kind of threatens, objectively threatens Elena. But I do like her having this agency because she's been a character that so many people have written off, like just been like, oh, she's a druggie, like, oh, she's just, this, lower income person in town, and she's felt those feelings a lot, those feelings of inadequacy a lot.
Yeah.
And I do kind of like her standing up for herself in a way, like a little bit, even though it is like threatening Elena, which is rough. But
yeah.
Anyway, I think, and my other thing on that is that she kind of feels more like a Damon character in this way. Like she has similar things that I feel like we've been looking at with Damon and how he responds to things emotionally, because he's like an emotional responder instead of like a logical responder a lot of the time. And I wonder if that's part of what Damon maybe saw in her and that led him to actually doing it. But we'll talk more about that.
Talk more about that later. So the next scene is H is for hunger. We are still at the Salvatore boarding house, but we are outside. Elena tells Stefan how Vicki attacked her. And he's like, doesn't really apologize. Like, he's just kind of like, well, this is what it's like to be a new vampire. I mean, he's not happy it happened, right? But he's also like not totally surprised. And Elena's like, well, how long until Vicki settles into being a vampire? And he says there's no set amount of time, but at least she has someone to help her. And he says, I had to learn it on my own, which makes me sad for him.
Yeah.
And also begs the question, where was Catherine at that point, right? And where was Damon at that point?
Yeah.
And any maybe other vampires in 1864. He warns her that Vicki cannot be around Jeremy right now because feelings of love, lust, anger, fear, etc. can all blur into hunger. Stefan promises he won't let anyone get hurt. Bro, that is not a promise you can make, but I appreciate the effort and the sentiment. And then Elena leaves saying there's only so much she can take because he's like trying to talk to her. And she was like, no.
Oh, man. I mean, and honestly,
I don't blame her.
Kind of fair. That's a lot.
But also, like, you could have called him on the phone and just said, what's going on with Vicki?
And also, Elena, may I ask, why aren't you at school? Or I don't know. We don't know what time of day. Maybe it was after school at that point in time when she goes over there. But like when she's telling not everybody, but telling Jeremy to go to school, it's like, did you go to school? Because she wasn't. We haven't seen her because she wasn't there with. So was she not at school? I don't know.
Damn, Elena.
Elena, come on, girl. All right. on to our next scene. Your life was pathetic. Your afterlife doesn't have to be. And we are at the Salvatore boarding house, but upstairs in a bed. Is this Stefan's room or
So
I couldn't-
the transcript I was reading says it was Stefan's bedroom, but what we see of it, we don't see enough that I don't
Yeah.
recognize specific things that we've come to know with Stefan's
Yeah.
bedroom, but we haven't seen any other bedrooms.
Right. So, okay, so she's in a bedroom listening to music, and Damon comes in. She asks him why he turned her into a vampire, and he says that he was bored, and that is the pitfall of eternity. Vicki says she's bored and hungry, and Damon tells her that that will ease up and that she's been cooped up all day. So they should probably try to like do something about that to get her outside. They go downstairs and Stefan tries to stop him. Damon makes the argument that they should teach her a thing or two, and says that he's just taking her to the front yard. Like he's not taking her out on the town, or I think he says to Disneyland. But
It is Disney.
he just wants to kind of just give her some breathing room. And outside, Damon teaches Vicki how to use vamp speed, and both brothers are with her, right? So Damon's teaching her. Stefan's out there monitoring. Damon shows her. She's very enthused by this. She's like
It's cute.
It
like
is really cute.
Her wonder at it. Yeah.
And then they, she tries to do it, and then she vamp speeds away, and Damon just goes, "Oops." God damn it, Damon. So teaching styles.
Yeah, well, we've alluded to this a little bit, talking about how one brother's kind of focus is very micro versus the other who's macro. One is very hands-on, the other maybe not, So we're seeing our daddy vamps have different teaching philosophies, pedagogies, if you will. So when we've also talked about this, like, I agree with both of them to a certain extent. However, maybe teach her other things before you're outside in the open at night and you're like, vamp speed, because come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not something that, maybe not that one first.
Because also we'll see, like, she knows nothing else.
Yeah.
So that's also dumb on her part. Like, her impulsivity is really, she's acting first, thinking later.
Yeah.
And it might get her into some trouble.
It just might. But yeah, I think the freedom and structure of their styles is something that I do kind of, there's like, in general, like in life, I feel like that's always when you're not even just as a baby vampire, I think in general, to hone or gain like a new understanding of something, a new skill, like having structure to get the things right, and also freedom is like the freedom to kind of like do it at your own pace, or just have some breathing room while you're kind of absorbing what's going on. Like there's a space for both of those things, because you need to be able to implement stuff. Because if you're just like, if you're thinking about it like in a school context, it's like if you can't just, like, I mean, yes, you can like learn stuff, but I think when you're actually applying things also helps just the overall understanding or adjustment. So it's just a little rough that they went about it this way. Yeah. I don't think that Damon did this to Vicki though, because he was bored, and you can kind of like see it on Damon's face. Like I will stand on this, that like that even though Damon has done some shit things, which is very true, and I won't say that's not been the case, but I do think that there was this part of him that like did feel bad for her as a human, and in a way maybe wanted to make her human life better, but then was trying to play it off like he didn't care, because he does that a lot. He kind of deflects so that no one is picking up on his actual like feelings or emotions, it seems.
I agree with you. However, there is one aspect of it that I can't get into because it would be a spoiler, that I will try to remember to talk about in a future episode where it's relevant, of why I think, regardless of his intention, that it wasn't okay for him to do what he
definitely
did.
not.
I mean, besides like don't kill someone, but there's context that I'm specifically thinking of right now, and feel like he should know better.
Yeah.
Well, in general, they should all know better.
Yeah, they should all know better for sure. But All right.
All
on to
right.
our next scene.
Our next scene, You Can Never Go Home. And in case you like this title, I have a summer slasher story called You Can Never Go Home that you can read for free on Maudlin House at any time. And it's set at my hometown fair in Malvern, Pennsylvania.
Hell yeah.
So You Can Never Go Home. We're at the Donovan house. We see Vicki kind of like walk out of the woods and walk up to her house, and she gets a key under like a pot and unlocks the door. But she can't enter her home because she's a vampire and she didn't have time to learn that you can't go in unless you're invited. You know?
Yeah. Do you think that she knows it, or do you think that because I feel like she kind of, it sort of makes sense to her as she's going through it,
She
but
figures it out in real time.
yeah, yeah,
Like she is definitely like a quick thinker.
Yeah.
But in that moment, she's like,
yeah.
what? I can't go in. So she kind of like does this pull away. She looks at the door frame. Matt, she's like, Matt? He's like, Vic? And he comes out and hugs her, tells her to come inside, and she's like, And then he tells her again, like, please come inside. And so this time she attempts it again, and she's able to come in, and you can see her face. She's like, okay.
Right. That's how that works.
She's really hungry. So we are then in their kitchen, and Matt gives her food. He's using like a toaster oven, a microwave, and it is a hot dog and tater tots with what looks like a side of microwaved corn. He tells her that the police want to question her about what happened in the woods. She's very short with them. She's like, they know where I live. It's like, Vicki, you've been missing, girl. He's trying to get through to her about how serious this all was and how worried she had him and the rest of the town, right? The doorbell rings. Matt goes to answer it. It's Stefan. And he asks if Vicki is home. And when Matt says that she is, Vicki over shoulders like, don't let him in. And so Matt's like, you need to leave, Stefan. And so that's how that scene ends. Have a question. Now we haven't seen any of our vamps try to do this yet, but conceivably, could Stefan compel Matt to let him enter the house?
This is a very good question, and something that when Dwight started watching the show with me, since he's watching along with us as we record, he also asked that. He was like, why don't vampires just compel humans to let them in? And to which I go, that's interesting, because that could be an easy solve for vampires to get into a home. But I wonder, going back to, I know a few episodes ago, we were talking about the invitation, like just some folklore around vampires being able to be invited in, and how there is this like barrier of agency there. And I wonder if the compulsion, because the person's safe within the confines of the house, that like whatever that magical barrier is that keeps them out, I wonder if that also protects them from compulsion as long as that barrier exists. I don't know, but that sounds viable to me. Otherwise, I don't recall in the series if anyone else does that, like compel someone to let them in. I can't remember.
My recollection is yes.
Maybe. So yeah, there's a chance.
But we also know, as often happens in TV shows, some rules change, and this series will certainly do that.
Yeah.
So,
and some people, and perhaps, and again, I actually don't, like I've said to y'all before, I haven't watched the show in a long time, so some of the finer details are not things that I remember as clearly. So perhaps it's the kind of vampire I can maybe do that.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for that. But I thought that was interesting.
And now we're moving right along to our next scene. Sibling squabble. And we're at the Gilbert house. And in the kitchen, Jeremy leaves Vicki a voicemail to call him, and Elena walks in and asks Jeremy if he wants to hang out tonight. And she suggests going to the Halloween party at the school, and he kind of just very unenthusiastically is like, yeah, sure, like whatever. She does tell him that he needs to let Vicki go, and he pushes back, saying after losing their parents, Vicki's like one of the few people who's made things better, and he walks away. Understandable that he's hung up on her. In the hallway, his phone buzzes, and it's Vicki saying that she's stuck with Matt and asking Jeremy to meet up with her. And he texts back where, and she replies, the Halloween party at school. And he smiles and goes upstairs. She's like, all right, I was already going there.
Ah.
Elena, she's trying.
She's trying her darndest. And you know what? So is Matt. And that's all I'm going to say for now.
Yeah.
Next scene, watch out for the Lockwood special. We are at Mystic Falls High. We've arrived at the Halloween party, carnival, whatever it's called, because they keep calling it different things. Tyler is dressed as a Spartan warrior, and he brings ciders over to Caroline and Bonnie, who are both dressed as witches. Bonnie has this crazy blonde wig that I love so much. There's also like at least one little spider like clipped in it. I don't know if you noticed that, but I loved it. Bonnie says no to the drink because apparently last year she was super hungover. Caroline accepts the drink, of course, and says she's going to drink until someone is hot enough to make out with, and Tyler cheers to that. I called this Watch Out for Lockwood special because Tyler does strike me as the kind of person who might put shit in the drinks.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But these kids are so crazy. This is like a town event at your school. You are under like bright lights like we are, and you're just like drinking your jungle juice.
The way that these kids drink out in the open, you would think we were in Vegas, and you would think that we were somewhere where drinking doesn't have an age limit. Like, it's just so, or like an age, yeah, I guess not age limit, or age restriction.
Also,
I guess
it's Monday.
Yeah, like what are we doing?
Yeah, I have no idea, but I love your note. There were water bottles for that.
Yes, there were. So they're just about drinking out in the open. There were water bottles for that. At least when we were. I don't know what the kids are doing these days. Hopefully just maybe not, I don't know, whatever.
They're just putting them in their Nalgene's.
They're now,
because hopefully you're not using plastic water bottles.
Yeah, they're Nalgene's like, well, and then if they're like tinted water bottles, I can't really see what's going on in there. So actually that's kind of smart.
I, in college, would put wine in my thermoses.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely have done that. I would
just bring that to my night classes. So.
I actually did that not that long ago. When not that long ago, a few years ago, but it was like we have a local movie theater near where we live. It's literally so close to our house. We literally roll up to the theater like as the movie's about to start, and we kind of just traipse in. But sometimes I'll like bring a little water bottle that's concealed, and sometimes it has wine in it, sometimes it has water.
Yeah.
No one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know. I did once bring, the little like smoothie bottles.
Yeah.
I once brought myself an alcoholic drink like that into a movie theater when I was underage.
Hey, listen. And you know what? I was fully of age. This theater didn't sell booze. So I was like, hey, it's a whatever night it was. And it was like a fun little night out at the movies with Dwight. And I was like, I'm going to bring some wine. Dwight also brought wine, and we just had ourselves a nice little time. We did get popcorn though. So we did support our theater. So no worries.
Yeah, because concessions are pretty much the only way they make money.
Yeah, we do. We always do. Go to your local cinemas, everyone. Okay. So yeah. What do you think was in Tyler's drink? Like, do we think it's a jungle juice derivative? Like what would
it a cider? So it could be something as simple as apple cider,
like a spiked
with probably, let's be honest, it's in 2009 Bacardi,
or he like went into his family's alcohol cellar, which I'm sure they have in that house, and probably grabbed like some. Do you think that he bought like or brought like really nice, like what how like sometimes when like if you don't, because kids like around that age like don't really know the difference about like certain alcohols, right? You're not that aware of like it's just kind of like, oh, if you maybe like might do a little swipe of your parents' cabinet if that was your way back then, but do you think he like stole like a really nice six-pack,
I mean,
like
probably.
a Johnny Walker Black or something?
Probably.
I don't know. I mean, there's Basil Hayden's. I don't know, like something something really nice.
So I feel like it could be that, or it's like a true jungle juice, which it's been a long time since I've drank jungle juice. So I looked up a recipe, and the place I clicked on is called staysnatch.com. Yes. So it says strawberries, rum, lemonade, vodka, orange juice, fruit punch, cranberry juice, oranges, and club soda. That's a lot of things.
That's a lot. That sounds like a headache to me.
I mean, obviously. I mean, my jungle juice today is sangria.
Yeah. It is like adult sangria, isn't it?
Well, my jungle juice in college sure as hell did not have fresh fruit in it.
Oh, well, that's, definitely
There was
not.
a time I went to, my sister who's 5 years older than I am. She used to have a lot of parties at the house she lived in Westchester. And there was literally a party where there was a cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And the cooler was full of, like, literally you, like, dipped your cup in for jungle juice. Like, disgusting.
Oh, that's got me icky. And my other question is, like, did your school do anything special for Halloween?
No, I don't think so. I mean, when I was a kid in elementary school, we had a parade. That was really fun.
That's cute.
My most vivid memory of Halloween in high school was my senior year because the Phillies won the World Series.
Yes.
And the parade was on Halloween.
Yes, it was.
And I didn't go to the parade, but it was just a half day at school. And so I went to school, but I dressed up. I was Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. And I, had the full outfit, and I had a basket. And in the basket, I had candy. And I was giving, and I was also carrying my books. But I was like giving teachers, and there was like 2 people in every class because everyone was at the parade. So I just always think of that moment. I had a great day at school. Honestly, it was like 3 hours of school. No one was there, so we couldn't do anything. And I just really loved my outfit. So what about you?
I was at the parade that year. So that was that 2000 and...
That would have been fall of 2008.
2008, fall 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I was out there on the streets of South Philadelphia. But actually, my high school did do a thing on Halloween every year. We had a thing called, I think they just called it like Spirit Day. Like it was Spirit Day. So what we would do is, so every grade would have a like we all had color, like every year had like a color. So green, which was like our year, was green. There was a red year, a yellow year, and a blue year. I think those were the colors. So, and then they would rotate every year. So like whoever the seniors, whatever color they were, the incoming freshmen the following year would take that color, right? So like that color stayed with you your 4 years of school. So we would all like get decked out in like our class like color, and then we would do like skits. It was really fun.
Wow.
It was really fun. And one of my dear, dear friends, Michelle, she was like incredible and did a lot of fun planning around that. There were other really fantastic people. I was someone that like was very heavily involved in like the creative aspects of that. But Michelle was like painting like these beautiful signs. And by the time we got to senior year, we went all out, and it was really fun. Yeah. Just like our class in general just like had no chill with that kind of stuff. So we really just took it all the way, and it was really great. But I guess I missed junior year because I was at the parade. Anyway, yeah, so I love Halloween. It's a great time, and I'm glad that Mystic Falls High also loves Halloween too, evidently. Yes. But Caroline's outfit, beautiful. I actually do.
She looks hot.
Yeah, she looks hot. I tried to recreate, because she was wearing like a corset-y top with her little witch hat, and I was trying to like kind of meet Caroline where she was. But then at the expense of Bonnie's other outfit, which is like more of the like traditional like peasant. It's so cute, but
if she didn't wear the terrible blonde wig, like it could be cute.
Yeah, but Cat Graham is so beautiful that like she just transcends anything she's wearing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But yeah.
All right. So our next scene, we get to see someone else dressed up. We're calling Daisy Buchanan gets more than she bargained. And we are back at the grill. Mayor and Mrs. Lockwood sit at a table with drinks, potentially the same table they were at in the earlier scene. They are dressed up in 1920s outfits, so she is the Daisy Buchanan in the scene title. They are not getting along. Mayor Lockwood asks in a really snotty way how many drinks she's had. She snaps back at him. He says they're going to be late for the Halloween party, and she tells him to go without him because she wants to finish her drink. After he leaves, she looks over her shoulder, and a couple booths back is Damon. He lifts his glass kind of as like, hello. And then he comes to sit with her. She says she recognizes him as Caroline Forbes' boyfriend. And he's like, oh no, like she had a schoolgirl crush on me. I had to let her down, he's like gently, which I don't love. But we'll talk about that. She remembers his name is Damon, and she's flirting with him very obviously, saying that he has a face that is hard to forget, which, like, facts. He's a babe. He's a stone cold babe. She then asks his last name, and he says Salvatore. And she's like, oh, any relation to uncle, nephew, cousin Zach, right?
He's back. Only in spirit, though.
Only in spirit. And he's like, yeah, Zach's my uncle. And he then tries to compel her, being like, what do you know about Zach? And it does not work. So she does go on. She, like, kind of clocks that he's doing something weird.
And great recovery from Damon where he's like, there's something in my eye.
Right. He's like, there's something in my eye. She tells him she knows Zach from the Founders Council. And Damon / the camera shows us that she's wearing gloves, but on her wrist she has a bracelet. So we can assume it's full of vervain. Damon tells her that he just moved back to town. He didn't know that Zach was in the council. Mrs. Lockwood asks him to tell Zach to return her calls. And he says Zach went out of town. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But then sneaky Damon tells her that if it's about the vervain, he might be able to help her because Salvatores know about vervain. And they cheers. Okay, so Damon is super clever. I have to give him points for that. He's doing recon and kind of gaining the trust or like infiltrating the council, if you will, like off the grill, great for him. I think it's gross that Mrs. Lockwood flirts with him. I don't know how much older she is than him, so it's not specifically that, but she, regardless of what she believes that he said, he was Caroline's date to the Founders Party at her house. Yeah. So you think a guy is hot who, regardless, he's telling you he didn't have feelings for her, but he still was going out with a minor. Yeah. It's as a parent of a teenager, she should be a little more upset than that. And also as a person who has shown us she's so focused on how things appear. Yeah. Right? Like not wanting Tyler to date Vicki, calling her trash. Yeah. Wouldn't you think he's tainted in some way? Which I know she's had some drinks, but like. Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's just that hot.
He's just that hot. She's like, whatever.
She's letting it go. Her martini looks very delicious, I have to say. As a martini gal, I do love a good dirty gin martini. And
I'm not a martini person, but
I'll take
olives, Damon's bourbon.
Those olives were juicy. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's not a good look. It's just kind of gross that she's being that chummy with somebody that was like dating somebody in high school, just like however many days, according to our time math calendar, it wasn't that long ago. So, also like adults going to the Halloween party at school, like, why would they go? Or is it because he's just the mayor, you think?
Yeah, they don't give me chaperone vibes.
No.
And so I wonder if they have to make an appearance because he is the mayor.
Yeah. It seems like
But
it's an all ages thing at the high school. So, because there are kids there too.
Except we mostly just see the character. I know, obviously, we just mostly see the characters we know, but I don't think we actually see the Lockwoods there.
No.
So,
but I guess but Damon ends up.
He potentially walks her there.
Yeah.
In a later scene.
So, well.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, it seems
interesting.
It seems interesting, but maybe he just says the mayor's like, Happy Halloween.
Yeah. So it's just, maybe. Maybe he's just there to do that. But it's so interesting for many reasons, but also gross.
Yeah, totally gross.
And we are moving on to our next scene. Titled, it's called Hunger. We're at Mystic Falls High. All right. So we see Elena and Jeremy walking into the school's Halloween party that is expertly decorated. She's dressed as a bloody nurse carrying a severed hand, and he's just wearing a black hoodie, which feels correct for Jeremy.
It does.
They run into Matt once they get fully inside the party, and we see Matt dressed up as a doctor with a severed foot. And this is where we learn this was their couple's costume from last year, since everyone decided to go to the party last minute. Jeremy fucks off when Matt cheekily makes fun of his low effort costume, which is pretty great because I would also make fun of.
Oh, absolutely.
Jeremy's low effort costume. So then Elena talks to Matt about how Jeremy is mad at her, and he shares similar sentiments upon Vicki's return and not wanting to, her return home and not wanting to smother her, which immediately alarms Elena because Vicki being back means there's trouble, that she's even interfacing with any of them, right? So she asks if Vicki's still there at the party, and he says yes, she's dressed as a vampire. And Elena immediately ends the conversation to go find Jeremy. And as we continue on through the scene, we see Vicki dressed up as a very hot vampire, like a very hot vampire right here. Walking very radically through the school halls. The whole school is very crazy haunted house vibes with flashing lights, cobwebs galore, and she's overwhelmed looking at people's necks, and you can kind of hear some faint heartbeat pulses going. And then a light gets really intense for her when Stefan grabs her and pulls her into a classroom. Vicki is, of course, still irritated by Stefan following her, but he's trying to help her and saying being in a crowded place like this will be harder to keep herself under control. So, I mean, how do we feel about all this? I mean, I think the couple's costume, and them recycling their couple's costume is pretty cringy. What about you?
It's super cringy, and it's sending really mixed signals.
Yes.
Elena continues to send mixed signals to Matt, and he deserves better, and she should know better.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess at this point, she and Stefan are broken up. I mean, she told him the end of episode 6 that, she couldn't do this. But it's not like that's public knowledge or anything. So it just, I feel like, because I was a teenage girl in 2009, and I put together many a costume using just things in my closet.
Yeah.
Right? Think about Mean Girls. Just put a pair of animal ears on top of whatever lingerie that you wear. Elena Gilbert would be fine, right? But to wear that, I mean, I guess she thinks Matt might not be there.
Right.
But the way he gets so excited, and it's almost this she's excited he's wearing it too. And honestly, I think it's a fun couple's costume. I like all the fake appendages.
Yeah.
And the blood and everything. They would look really cute, but I'm like, no, not okay.
Yeah. I feel like it's weird. Do you
also just maybe don't dress up like Jeremy did?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I feel like last minute, maybe not. I mean, even though, as we have said, we do love dressing up, as you can see here in this episode where we are clearly wearing costumes. But my one question to you do you have like a favorite costume that you've ever worn?
I mean, it's hard. I love them all.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll stick to just Halloween.
Yeah.
because-
We I feel like we do
Mhm.
dress up a lot because we have a lot of fun friends that like
Mhm.
having themed parties. So
And we always
And we
make
always
our
host them.
friends dress up for themed parties. Yeah. So some favorite Halloween costumes. I was Poison Ivy
great.
last year, and that was really fun. We have fake ivy that we use for display purposes at the shop, like for our spring and summer window displays. And literally, I pinned it and like wrapped it around this green velvet dress I had. So that was like super fun. I love a DIY kind of
DIY, yeah.
costume. A couple years ago, I was Annabelle from The Conjuring, and a very simple costume to put together, but like the makeup was so fun, and also like my face like felt so like my skin felt so tight
Yeah.
from wearing so much like white powdered
Yeah.
makeup, but it was great because children were terrified of me, and I just got to like give a little creeper face. I was just like,
I love. We'll have to.
and it was great.
We better share these.
Yeah, we have to share them. This past year I was Iris from Companion, and got to be totally covered in fake blood. Anytime I can just cover myself in fake blood is a good time. And then I'm gonna throw back one retro costume. I did mention my Dorothy costume, but my senior year, hello computer, my senior year of college, I did a series of costumes. But my favorite was I was Britney Spears. I'm a slave for you.
Oh.
And I was covered in glitter, and I had a little tiny fake snake.
Oh, hell yeah.
So,
All right.
what about you?
Oh man. I love Halloween so much. I've loved Halloween. I mean, probably similar to you, like since I was a child, like I did not actually care about the candy. It was all about the fits, like even from day one. So
Well, I don't like chocolate, so it definitely isn't about
yeah,
the candy.
I mean, I like was there for the vibes of actual trick or treating. I was mostly there for just figuring out what I was going to be. When I was like really, really young, one of my like earliest Halloween costumes was a full on like 101 Dalmatians like zip up like I think I have a picture of it, so if I can find it, I'll share it out.
I want to see.
But it's truly like just one of those onesies, but like a 101 Dalmatian full on. That's a real fun retro older costume, but in recent years, so actually related to this, Jen and I, one of our dear friends, Jen, and one of my best friends from life and growing up, but I've known Jen since high school, since we were this age watching the show together. We did 1 year dress up as like TVD vampires. So like we did the veiny makeup, and we wore like cool pleather outfits out to the bars here in Manayunk, because that's how old we were at that point. So we were, I guess, college age. But more recently, one of my favorite Halloween costumes, which like wasn't something like we kind of put it together last minute, but it turned out really well, was when Dwight and I were like when I was Abigail. I was
gonna guess that. It was so good.
Also vampire related. I was Abigail, and Dwight was whatever Dan Stevens' character is from, I forget his name in Abigail. But like it like turned out way better than we thought it would, especially Dwight's costume, because like you wouldn't like if you know the movie, if you've seen the movie and then like see what Dwight did for the costume, like it works really well. So I'll have to try to share a picture of that. But yeah. But like you said, there's just so many costumes, so many things that I mean every year I love it. So
Love it.
Don't know what I'm doing this year, so I'm not as ahead of the game as you, but hopefully it'll be something good.
When inspiration strikes,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah. Around the summertime is when I'll start thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right.
One other thing I want to say is that I love this meta moment, and it's very cheeky, of Vicki choosing to be a vampire, and like she looks real hot.
Yeah, she does.
She looks really good.
She looks real hot. Actually, really in this whole episode,
Yeah.
she's like really just serving the whole time. And I like that we're seeing the heartbeat, like palpitation of people, like just seeing her, just her erratic, like frenetic, like erratic responding to her surroundings, which is very much like what Stefan was like warning her about.
Right. I love Mystic Falls totally committing to the decor, but I have questions, as I always do. How do we think this is funded? We know they just raised funds for the athletic department, RIP Mr. Tanner. So is this possibly Mr. Tanner blood money?
It might be. It honestly, or do you think they like raise, like blood money, or do you mean like from the car wash, like raising money from they're like
I mean, that's
allocating.
supposed to be for the athletics
It
department.
is. So they're allocating some money from the car wash to, which I mean tracks, because if Miss Caroline Forbes was in charge of the car wash and she's the one that's most excited for this Halloween party, I would see
she's a spooky bitch like you and me.
yeah, she's putting those funds to good use. But yeah, I mean, I love how decked out this like school is. It's so, what a great spectacle, I think, like for this part of our episode, right? And in like the latter part of the episode.
It's so fun. So our next scene is flirting for Vervain. We are back at the grill with Damon and Mrs. Lockwood. They are chopping it up with more martinis and bourbon. Damon is stealthily trying to get information about the Vervain supply and who is looking for it, how many children, friends, family, everyone on the council, etc., trying to figure out the numbers. Mrs. Lockwood's like, well, everyone on the council, but like Zach knows the numbers, you know? Yeah. And Damon's ears definitely perk up because he's trying to figure out who is on the council, right? Then Mrs. Lockwood tries to leave, and Damon is flirting with her, trying to get her to stay and chat. And she calls out that he's flirting with her, and he calls her out for flirting with him first, which she does not deny. He offers to escort her to the school and jokes about seeing at least 10 vampires tonight. And she laughs because she knows he's referring to people being dressed up for Halloween. And she says that she wishes it was easier to find the real ones. So Damon's like, oh, well, how is the search going? And she says they ruled out everyone who came to the founders party because it was during the day. And this is obviously good for him, Stefan, and Vicki, considering that this was pre-Vicki being turned.
Yeah, but they were all there.
They were all there during the day. And she says everything else has been a dead end. All right. So Damon is super smooth here.
Yeah. He like definitely is just trying his best to massage his way into getting some more answers from Mrs. Lockwood, but to her credit is doing kind of the if you know, you know thing, which I feel like, going back to your earlier comment on just kind of like women people in general, just being more like aware of surroundings, not revealing too much information, right? Like she's kind of like, well, Zach has the information. And so to not outright just like give it all to Damon, even though it's clear. I mean, I don't know if she's they are flirting, they've been drinking. I don't know if she's necessarily clocking that I mean, definitely not, because she doesn't know he's a vampire, but like he's definitely kind of trying to get her for information, but she does like cut him off to a point, you know, which I think is like smart on her part. So.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I love that her in this second scene between the two of them, her as I have it going on, right? Her one strap of her dress is just like off her shoulder. The little tramp. I love it. And then Damon is truly wearing the baddie uniform here. So our friend EJ has called the outfit that Brenna and I are wearing so often in photos and videos of the white t-shirt with black jeans and a black leather jacket, the baddie uniform. So literally to the T, Damon is wearing the baddie uniform here.
He's wearing the baddie uniform.
He looks hot. My only other thought with this scene is, do we think, we learn that from Mrs. Lockwood talking to Damon that the supply of Vervain that she and her husband and Tyler have is what's left from her husband's ancestors. So do we think that or like she alludes to, like they only have a little bit of that left. So do we think that this is the only vervain that they have in possession? And this is why Logan, to my question from last episode, like, why isn't Logan on vervain if he's in the council? Did they not share it with him because they didn't like him, or did they not share it with him or other council members because they only have a certain amount and they only care about protecting themselves?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely something about that, because it seems that so my kind of thought is, because you know how you were saying, like it's to be believed that it's in her bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that they're consuming it in any way, right?
Yeah.
So they're using it definitely as, in the way that Elena's using it, as more of a like warding off, like protection thing, than like some like consuming it in the way that Zach's been able to do, or like when he, you know, dosed Caroline, or like, well, when Stefan dosed Caroline to like get Damon. And so I think there's probably such a like limited supply that maybe they're not. Yeah, they're being stingy. Like, even if, because you would think, like, even if they weren't, like, ingesting it, which if you only had a limited supply, obviously I don't think people would be ingesting it, just because that'd be something that you would have to, like,
out of your system.
continually do. So I do think that they're just being probably, like, stingy and, like, you know, just like rich people tend to be.
Yes.
And just being like, for me and mine and no one else.
I see that for sure.
So that's my thought on that. But all right, on to our next scene. Rumble in the haunted house. We're back at Mystic Falls High. And so Stefan and Vicki run into Elena and eventually Matt. And Elena is stressed out about not finding Jeremy, but is relieved to see that Vicki is with Stefan. Thank goodness. Vicki causes a fuss about Stefan following her around, and Matt gets defensive, telling Stefan to back off again. As this is happening, Vicki dashes off, and the three of them go off trying to find her. Matt then grabs Stefan to stop him, but Stefan just yoinks Matt and pushes him up against a wall, stressing that he's trying to help Vicki, which, like, gosh, Matt, come on, buddy. He's literally trying to help you and your sister. And I know you don't understand that, but come on. There's like, in this shot, there's more interior Halloween shots of the party while Jeremy is moodily walking around, and Vicki then finds him and pulls him to the side of the hallway, and they make out and run off together. You have some thoughts about this?
I am just so over Matt's overly protective brother routine. Obviously he loves his sister, but like, read the room, bro.
Yeah.
Like, she has proven time and time again that she can't be trusted. Like, Vicki won't even tell you where she's been for a day.
Yeah.
And just like pops up and then leaves, and she won't tell you why or how Stefan's bothering her. And even Elena's like, no, Matt, like, that's not like what's happening. And just his blind faith in his sister, I understand it to a point, but it gets to it has passed the point for me where it's believable. And him believing Vicki in this moment over Elena, that I actually can't believe.
Yeah.
No, the girl that he's in love with.
Yeah. It's getting kind of like, all right, Vicki has not shown us any kind of like goodwill at this point. Not like, you know what I mean? Like, in goodwill, like, just because of her just frequent absences, running off, like, kind of all this stuff, not even just in this particular scene, just in general.
Right.
So it's just, come on. Like, so I agree.
So we move on to our next scene, cauldrons, crystals, and candy cannibalism. We are still at Mystic Falls High, but we're outside now. Damon has arrived at the high school, maybe or maybe not, escorted Mrs. Lockwood. He approaches Bonnie by grabbing a piece of candy, and he asks her where Caroline ran off to, and Bonnie is just like not having it, and tells him not to ask her about Caroline and to stay away from her. She's being a good friend. Bonnie's always a good friend, right?
Here she is again.
Also, like, I love that Bonnie's just outside, like, by this fake cauldron. Like, girl,
Bonnie.
come on, go have some fun, you know? Damon then notices that she's wearing the crystal as a necklace. And he asks Bonnie where she got it, and she says from a friend. He obviously knows this is Caroline. He tells her it's his necklace, and she says, not anymore, which I love. He asks her for it again, and she says no. Going as far to say she'll give it to Caroline, and if Caroline wants to give it to Damon, then he can have it back, which I also love.
I do love that.
So then he literally tries to just yank it from her, but it burns his hand. They are both shocked by this. So think back to that IMDb synopsis about Damon being like blown away by Bonnie's powers. And it's like, yeah, we are so far in the episode when we get to this. We then move to Elena moving through the school looking for Vicki, maybe also looking for Jeremy. We are then outside in the back parking lot of the school where Vicki and Jeremy, they open a door and they're just like making out as they're going. They're walking between buses and just continue to make out. Stefan is inside the school looking for Vicki while Elena is looking for Jeremy now. We cut back and forth to them individually looking for this troublesome pair. We then move back to Jeremy and Vicki, where he tells her that he's been worried about her because she's just like basically trying to like mount him, you know, like
really
she's just trying to get busy, and he's like, "Are you okay?" But she's like, "I have to leave town, like I have to get out of here." But she asks him to come with her, because she wants to be with him forever, and he agrees. Their making out intensifies. And she bites his lip, taking, as he puts it, her costume a little too seriously. And he literally starts bleeding. And she starts licking the blood on his lip and then starts full on like sucking on it. So he's alarmed at this point, tries to get her off. She won't stop. He eventually pushes her off, and he sees her go full vamp face, right? She goes for him, like she's lunging for him right as Elena makes it outside, and she picks up like this piece of broken wood and like runs towards them. Vicky's shift focus to Elena. Elena tries to hit her with the wood, but Vicki flings her into like, it looks like a pallet or something, right? Like wood or whatever. She's definitely hurt.
Yeah.
And bleeding from this. She starts getting up as Stefan makes it outside, and he ultimately intervenes between Vicki and Elena. Vicki pushes him off and actually like really does shove him. So I guess baby vamp strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he yells at Elena and Jeremy to get inside. So they start running in, but as they are like just making it to the door, Vicki grabs Elena and bites her, drinking her blood, likely to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
But Stefan stakes her from behind. So, wow. Okay, so Vicki is staked. She starts losing color and her face starts draining. She has these bloody tears. And veins appear like across her skin, right? And she falls. She has, as Brenna wrote the note, been slayed. Jeremy screams out for her as Stefan holds him back. Elena's horrified. We cut to a commercial break. Wow, 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 wow.
This is our big moment in the episode.
Yeah.
There's a lot here.
There is a lot here. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I know that we already remarked upon this, but I think you did say a little something about Bonnie's blonde wig, which Bonnie, an interesting choice. I don't think it was her choice. I think Caroline made her wear that. And then, you have a little comment.
We gotta take a moment for in Vicky's hot vampire outfit, her thigh-high pleather boots. I've never had boots that high, but I did have a pair of knee-high pleather boots with like buckles and straps on them that I probably got at like a Spirit of Halloween my freshman year of college. So this year, and I did wear them a lot. So.
I mean, I have a pair of pleather boots that are knee-high, Steve Madden's that I wear religiously during the cold winter months. So
yeah, but like yours aren't like Pretty Woman.
No. Mine are like platforms.
They're so cute.
But no. But like, I want to find a thigh-high boot now. That's cute. I mean, I don't know what I'm wearing. I don't know what I'm wearing. That's that short though, to be honest. But hey, maybe
really short.
Who's to say? But so like, intrigue, necklace watch here. So this necklace is back in play again, right? And it's changed hands to Bonnie, and now we see it doing something. Do you think that it is causing this, or do we think that Bonnie's putting like her own like funneling her magic through it? Or a little bit of both.
I think it could be both.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've seen that Bonnie is powerful and she doesn't fully understand or have control of said powers, but also there's definitely something going on with this crystal.
Yeah, and you know what's like so interesting is like so far a lot of Bonnie's powers, and I'm actually so interested to keep tracking this, and I know we've talked about it before, especially in the car wash episode. Like, she's got a lot of fire energy with her, and it does burn him. So it's just like something, there's still a lot of mystery shrouded in this necklace, but, well, I guess until we get to a future scene, but that just was very interesting to me. And just Damon obviously also realizing he was the one that got the necklace in the first place, or wanted to take this necklace from the Lockwood Mansion in the first place. So he does have some idea of what this necklace does. And then he's duly shocked when it has some kind of effect in the way with Bonnie, it being in Bonnie's possession.
Yes. I also was just thinking how it tends in vampire stories. We don't know yet in this world, in this universe, but we often see witches, which are regularly depicted as human with supernatural abilities, but are often very much tied to the natural world, versus a vampire, which is an unnatural, supernatural creature, something that is created by magic, that they usually do not get along, or like even go as far as to see each other as enemies.
Yeah.
We certainly see this in something like True Blood. Was just like the first thing that kind of came to mind. So I'm interested to track that here.
For sure. I can't wait to learn more about what that relationship looks like between witches and vampires, for sure. Another thing is like, this whole scene is just incredibly well shot. Like, I just think the disorientation of them like moving through the Halloween party with the flashing lights, with all the different colors of the color, like there's like greens, there's reds, there's just people like having like spooky little candy like innards open, and there's a lot going on, very much overwhelming, and it does kind of give us a sense of maybe like how Vicki is feeling like moving through these moments, right? Like, it's disorienting in general, but I feel like it's definitely played up even more to like have us have some kind of like view into what that feels like.
Yeah, and that's really fun because we haven't had that before.
Yeah, no. So I just think that that's really cool that they like kind of went all out for this episode.
I agree. A question I have is when Vicki tells Jeremy that if he comes with her, they can be together forever. Is she consciously thinking about turning him into a vampire? And is she serious about it, right? Like, she's impulsive. She's a teenager. You know, you think, and for some people this is the case, but, you know, you meet your high school love and you think you're going to be together forever and you're going to feel this way forever. But this, if she is serious, she's taking things really far as a vampire who knows two things. She knows now she has to be invited in, and she knows vamp speed.
Yeah.
She has never fed on a person. Well, she fed on Logan, but she has never fed on a person that she had to approach herself.
Yeah.
She has no way to get around the sunlight issue because they did not tell her about their rings.
No.
They actually didn't say anything to her when she brought that up.
Yeah.
So smart of the Salvatore brothers. But also, how do you get those rings? We'll find out eventually. But it just is like, she and Jeremy haven't even like told each other that they love each other. And she's like, we can be together forever. And like, Jeremy's like, okay, great.
Jeremy. It feels like, yeah, I mean, I think she's definitely alluding to that. And I think that it's definitely this, her going back to what Stefan was saying is just confusing all of these feelings together, and just, they're all so jumbled and strong to her that like, that feeling of like that teen love or that teen lust is just coming through so hard for her right now in this moment. So she's really like doing that thing that teens do where they're like, oh, I want to be together forever. Like, or like when they're in dire situations being like, oh my God, it's just us against the world. And it's like, it feels a little bit like that, like that little like melodrama there.
She also doesn't really, I know like Damon told her how she became a vampire, but like she doesn't actually understand the process. So like, and it's not like these Salvatore brothers are going to help her with that.
No. So yeah, I feel like maybe like the desire's there, but I don't think that she's not fully thinking through it. She's just kind of like doing lip service right now, and like not, and I guess they don't get very far.
Yeah. Just one quick thing before we jump into some of our other notes here that I had thought about in the last scene we saw Matt, but I didn't want to say it because I knew we'd get to this scene, is that when she and Jeremy first go outside, like in between making out, she's like, I can't stay here. Matt's driving me crazy. Like, she's just like shitting on Matt.
Yeah.
And she does the same thing when she texts Jeremy. She's like, Matt like won't let me out. But then she manipulates Matt and relies on him because he is reliable to like protect her. But then she immediately is like, ugh, he's so protective. He's so annoying. And I was like, Matt, even more reason.
Yeah. Even more reason to not be buying her bullshit.
Yeah. Other thoughts I had is this feels like a very quintessential like horror moment when Vicki bites Elena, and Nina Dobrev just does this like really great like final girl scream. It's fantastic.
And she like really goes for it too. Like, I mean, she does a very final girl, like just grabbing the stake herself, like just like going for it. She's the scream. Are you talking about the scream when she's like bitten? Yeah. Like, but she does not. And this is again, I feel like we've been saying this through these beginning episodes. She really is like a protective, great big sister. Like she clearly cares about her brother. Obviously, in this moment, you know, Vicky's kind of just all confused with her like bloodlust because of biting Jeremy, but she does not waste a single second to get that one of those pieces of wood to try to go like basically to slay her because Jeremy's in harm's way. Like, she doesn't even really
know how to kill a vampire, but I have mad respect for it.
Right. And that's like kind of, so earlier in the episode when she's sort of being kind of like, you know, to Damon, like she really has this strong personality in this way, being like, even though I do think she knows to a degree that she is not as clearly not as strong as these vampires that are in her life, but she still has this part about her that's like fierce, and she's like ready to stand her ground, and I think I do appreciate that about her.
I agree. We also get to see what happens when a vampire dies, right? They basically desiccate, but further than we saw Damon when he was desiccating, when he was, you know, they were starving him. But it's also really cool to see how they've chosen to depict this in this universe, right? Versus the, in not in the Vampire Diaries, we were in the Vampire Diaries, in True Blood, they just explode like blood. In Buffy, they poof. So it's fun to see. Hey, a corpse sticks around.
Yeah, I do really like that a lot. And I like it does feel, and I guess we have not seen a full desiccation yet in Vampire Diaries. But you're right. Like, it does look similar to that. Like, they're kind of keeping it all in that realm of just the body sort of just like sucks the life away even more.
Like real shriveled.
And just totally just not, but it's not really like decay either, because it's still like her body.
Yeah.
It's just like the veiny, the like anything that was left of life has just been zapped. And even I didn't notice this. Like, I noticed it watching this episode, but I didn't like think about it because I don't think I recalled this, but just like the crying, the red tears, which I think they do that in True Blood, I think, right?
Anytime they cry, it's red tears.
Yeah, in True Blood. That's like, but in Vampire Diaries too now, I guess. Is that also true?
It's
or
just that
maybe
moment.
in that moment? Okay.
Stefan cries all the time.
I feel like,
it's just normal tears.
So it's just maybe, I guess that's just an effect from the, like a response to the staking. But because I do know that that's like a common thing in True Blood. So I was like, wait, I don't, but yeah, you're right. They do cry a lot in the show, and a lot of them are vampires.
It's just tears, but I guess it's maybe like the blood is leaving.
Yeah. Next scene. Bye, Vicki. We're in the Mystic Falls High School. We're in the parking lot, and Vicki is just like fully dead now. Elena's shocked and injured, and she tells Stefan to go get Jeremy out of here, and he obliges right away. And while that is going on, Stefan quickly calls Damon and asks for his help. And Elena is by Vicki's body, kneeling and just very distraught and crying, understandably. And then we go on to, that's like a little baby scene. So in our next scene called Secrets of the Crystal Revealed, Part 1.
Remind me of this so that I keep doing additional parts in the future.
I love this. Secrets of the Crystal Revealed, Part 1. I like that this is going to be an ongoing thing. Okay, I love it. We're back at Graham's house, okay? So we see Graham sitting at home when the door rattles and Bonnie comes in. Grahams asks what's happened to Bonnie, and Bonnie takes off her hat and wig. She tells Grahams about how she did something and that it came from her necklace. And Grahams asks, like, very, like, just alert on, like, locked in on this, and asks where she got the necklace. And Bonnie just kind of responds that it's a piece of junk from her costume. Because remember, Bonnie thinks that this piece of jewelry is ugly.
She sure does.
So, but Grahams recognizes this piece of jewelry, and we learn that the necklace belonged to one of the most powerful witches in the Bennett family, and shows Bonnie a picture of a woman in a photo dated 1864, our favorite year in this series, who's wearing this necklace. It's Bonnie's great-great-great-great-grandmother, Emily Bennett. She was the one that was the person that was escorting Catherine in our last episode. Well,
it's a different actress, but yes.
But it's a different, yes. I mean, technically a different actress.
But it's meant to be.
It is meant to be the same person. So I don't think that's like super spoilery to like say, because it's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah. The mystery regarding this crystal continues, right? We'll eventually get to a part 2. And more 1864.
1864, let's go. There's more secrets hiding in 1864, and I can't wait to find them.
They sure are. I'm ready for more flashbacks. So our next scene is You Confuse Me with Someone with Remorse. We wonder who says that. So we're back at Mystic Falls High. Elena is hovering over Vicki's body still when Damon arrives, and he tells her that she should go and that he's got this. He's going to take care of it. She's really mad at him and blames him, and his response is, you confuse me with someone with remorse.
Damon.
Elena goes to hit Damon, but he stops her, and he says that none of this matters to him, and she insists that it does matter and that he knows it. she successfully slaps him. And they stare at each other, and it becomes clear that Damon is smelling Elena's blood. And he stresses that she needs to leave because her wounds are bleeding. She goes. I also think, too, that he might be getting, like, not only hungry, but also, like, mad because she slapped him.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's like part of my read on it is like I
Oh.
was like, well, hunger can mix all of those things. And I was
Oh.
like, either way, he's like, you need to go. I think the hunger part is the
Yeah.
big thing, but I was like, I don't know. He does not seem happy that she slapped him.
Yeah. No, I like that read a lot. Yeah. I think, yeah, I definitely saw it more in the him smelling the blood. And it was just actually reminding me of the earlier, like our pilot episode when Stefan gets a whole conversation in before realizing that Elena cut herself in the cemetery because they were having a meet cute and it was too cute to cut that. But I feel like this like happens a little quicker. Like he's like, you're bleeding. You gotta go.
And you're bleeding enough that I'm like,
yeah, like he's sniffing. He's sniffing. Oh God. There's a lot of people chomping and there's a lot of people sniffing.
Oh God. So Elena leaves, and Damon looks at Vicky's body. Then we move to like the front of Mystic Falls, where Elena's leaving the school, and Matt catches up to her. He's like, "Are you okay?" Because she's definitely startled. She's been crying, and she lies to him about someone's like being a jerk and spilling fake blood all over her, and she wants to go home to shower. He says he can't find Vicki and that she bailed on him, and she tells him she doesn't know where Vicki is, and he talks about. He asks Elena, it's so sad, like, is this like the rest of my life, like worrying about her? And he says maybe she's at home and leaves. Elena gets in the car and she just kind of totally loses it.
Yeah. It's really sad.
Yeah.
I mean, those like last two interactions are just both very, very sad. Just him contemplating this about like having a sister who's like having troubled issues and then just Elena's reaction to everything and just having that private moment in the car is tough.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the Damon and the blood with Elena. But were there other thoughts you had with this scene?
I mean, I know we kind of were getting a little frustrated with Matt, like just kind of overly being like, best big brother in the world. But it's like very clear that these two, like both Matt and Elena are like very good siblings. They just, they care about their siblings so much. And it's so evident and it's so tough to like have, because, they are those two, like they're the eldest, like both Matt and Elena. They are for the most part very kind of like they seem very keyed in, right? Like people that participate in school stuff, like prior to like Elena's parents passing, it seemed like, she was very like active participant in like school life and very, very present, very there. And then the younger siblings seem to like just have a little bit more trouble like adjusting to things in general. And I mean, I know Jeremy has like an inciting incident of his parents passing away that has led to some of his things going on, but I think maybe like Jeremy might have always had a little bit of an edge, and of course like Vicki, I think her mom's negligence has had an impact on her as well, so, and like dad's absence too, so it's just like tough that these younger siblings are just like hard to rein in, but it's also hard on the elder siblings because like they are trying to do everything like right, but then they're also like trying to like do everything they can to help these younger siblings. And it's really sad. And it's like, those family dynamics are tough.
Yeah, definitely. And then one thing I want to know is this feels to me like a turning point for Elena because she chooses to lie to someone that she cares about, which is something she stressed to Stefan she does not want to do.
Yeah, it's so tough. And like, and we did say, again, like Elena's boldness is pretty notable and we appreciate it. So, all right. So is this our final? This is our final scene. All right. Things forgotten and remembered. We're back at the Gilbert house. Elena arrives home to ask where Jeremy is to Stefan, and Stefan says he's inside. And so she just goes right up to Jeremy and asks if he understood like what happened tonight at the school. He says he knows what he saw, but he doesn't understand. And she says that Vicki was going to kill her, and he's reeling over Vicki being dead, understandably. She tries to comfort him, and he asks it to make it stop, and eventually says, and this is so tough, "Why does everyone have to die on me?" And Elena keeps comforting him in a hug, which is just, oh my God, it's just really sad. So then we're outside. Stefan's on the porch, and he's just very contemplative and upset. And we do get a quick shot of Matt like coming, like, so we like quickly cut away from the Gilbert house. We go over to Matt coming back to his home, to an empty house, which is also very sad. And then back at the Gilberts, Elena comes out to ask how Stefan is doing, and says he was trying, like, just very clearly very upset about how everything turned out, was trying to help Vicki. And he asks how Jeremy is, and she says he's a mess and she doesn't want him going through this again. And he asks what he can do to help, and she does ask him to like make her forget everything that's happened, asks him basically to use compulsion to like make Jeremy forget. But Stefan, being with the way he lives, isn't really able to do that to a degree that a vampire who could, like, who has fed on humans, be able to do it in like a tighter way. But from off screen, and this is like where it is, and the music does have this like very, very clear cut where it's like when Damon comes in and says I'll do it, it has this like swell in the music, and it's like he just says like I'll do it. And like they both turn to Damon, and like you can see Stefan's definitely like like annoyed that like or that Damon's coming to the rescue essentially on this. And he says if this is what she wants, like he'll go do it, and she does agree. And then he does ask her what he wants, what does she want Jeremy to know, and she says that she wants him to know that Vicki left town, she's not coming back, and he shouldn't look for her, worry about her, and he'll miss her, but he'll know it's for the best. And Damon goes inside. Stefan, definitely distraught of that happening, just like not just that Damon's in getting involved here, goes to sit back down on the porch, and eventually Elena joins him, saying that a part of her wishes that she could forget too. And she wishes she could forget meeting Stefan, who he is, and everything that's happened since. And Stefan, of course, because Stefan's great, does sympathize.
He's the best.
And says if that's what she wants, like essentially almost being like, hey, look, if that's what you want. And but she says it is because she doesn't want it to be like this or feel like this. But she says she can't with everything that's happened. She still feels the way that she feels about Stefan, and she doesn't want to lose that. Damon exits the house and says Jeremy's memory adjustment is done, and Elena goes inside and closes the door while the brothers look at each other out on the porch. Oof, I just got chills. It was like, ah.
I'm gonna like cry.
I know. It's just like I was getting like a little like misty-eyed on this. It's the scene's like really, I mean, I really think like there's so many ways that you can say that like the Vampire Diaries is like a teen drama. In a lot of ways it can be soapy, it can be teeny. But I do think that this show has like an emotional depth that's just really, really great for like the time that it was out, but like it's still very compelling and still very well done. And this is definitely an example of that, where they're just like tackling these very like complex things that aren't like so overly complex, but like complex enough, but still like hitting these very like resonant emotional beats that in just such a powerful way, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great final scene for the episode. It's so sad, like you said, when, Jeremy says to Elena, like, why does everyone keep dying on me? Like,
yeah. Oh
my God. I have feelings about them having to rely on Damon. It feels dangerous, not necessarily in this specific moment, but for them to owe him in any capacity. I don't love it. How do you feel about Damon saying he'll help? I mean, obviously, he's your boy, so you love that he's here.
Damon's shrouding a lot of his like true feelings, even though they like come out in like you can infer just like based on how he's behaving is definitely in opposition to how he's feeling. Like you can just kind of get that sense in a lot of times like through these episodes. But here is where I do think that like he done fucked up, and I think he's like I do think he's trying to like make it better because it's like why else would he just like show up at that house, right? Like,
well, because he doesn't have a life.
Like, or that.
I would really argue that he has no friends, he has no life. So
He's got to insert himself into like the drama of the week because he has nothing better to do. I mean, that is a compelling argument, and I will accept that.
I like your argument. I'm just saying, like, as I've mentioned before, this 24-year-old man, vampire even, is just hanging out with a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah. He should be
like,
hitting
get a
up
life,
the college parties,
bro.
I guess, or beyond.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough, and it does like put them in a precarious situation just because they are going to now have to like kind of, or not going to, but like this is like a slippery slope into trusting Damon more to help with more things, which is, and I mean, he's kind of been there this whole episode, right? Like he's been tag teaming with Stefan in a way, like even if it's like
Daddy Vamps,
like the Daddy Vamps are here. I love Daddy Vamps. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah. But yeah, so
and then I just get really emotional in that final moment, and Elena, I'm like, does this mean they're back together? I don't know. We have to find out.
Well, she just kind of like gets up,
right,
and goes inside, which is
so
a choice.
Like, I still can't do this, or we're back together, baby. I don't know.
I guess we'll have to find out next episode.
Have to find out.
It might not be October, but this week for Folklore, we are going to dive into Halloween and the Celtic pagan holiday, Samhain.
Yay!
So we're gonna just start a little bit about how the two are linked, and that how Halloween, like the holiday, has roots that stem from its pagan Celtic ancestor, Samhain. So, which also, just for folks that may not know, Samhain, the way that you say that word, is spelled like Samhain, so Samhain. So if you do like look this up, that is how it looks, but it is said Samhain. So just in case anyone.
It is missaid in almost every piece of media.
Yeah. Also, like in the movie Trick or Treat, where the character, it's all about like kind of like the spirit of Halloween, and the like antagonist. I don't think Sam's an antagonist, but Sam is called Sam, and it's like definitely after Samhain. So okay, okay. So
I never thought about that before.
Yeah,
that just breaks my brain.
Yeah.
The more you learn, the more you know.
Okay. So, Samhain is a pagan Sabbath that celebrates the end of the harvest season and the transition into darker days that eventually lead to Yule, winter solstice, and winter. Sabbath is usually just like a name for like a pagan celebration, like an observation holiday, right? So it's a time where pagans honored their ancestors, and it is said to be a time where the veil is thinnest between our world and whatever lies beyond in death. Samhain can be celebrated in a multitude of ways, but in more ancient observations, this would be like extravagant bonfires and dressing up in costumes to ward off ghosts. We can see where we can kind of see just even from that little bit, like where Halloween gets its crossover. They do still have like in Ireland, like they definitely go all out for like Samhain. Like they do go all out. So I'm not saying that it's like not something that's not observed in like a certain way anymore. It's like definitely still very much practiced in Ireland, and I would love to go one day. But it is but it's not like commonly celebrated like in the way that we celebrate Halloween, I guess you could say, here in America.
Certainly. There's, if you want to see a fun example of it on television, the Irish TV show Bodkin.
I've never seen this
show.
It's
so good. It's a little like murder mystery, but it's dark humor. And it's in this remote Irish town, and a mystery happened. Like a group of, I think it was kids, went missing like 20 years ago on Samhain, and the town does a big Samhain like
That's fun.
festival and bonfires and all this stuff. So you get to see one take place,
That's cool.
and it made me. I have no idea how accurate it is, but I was like, even more reason to go for Samhain.
I definitely like, again, I've only been to Ireland once, and it was not during Samhain, so I wouldn't be able to say firsthand, but I have seen like kind of like clips and reels online, like when they like make their way through during like October month, like during October, or like maybe even September, when they're it looks really cool. Like the places that celebrated it looks baller, and we should go sometime.
We should definitely go. So a little bit more folklore about Samhain. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III declared November 1st All Saints' Day, which honored all the saints that didn't have their own feast day. The evening before All Saints' Day was called All Hallows' Eve, which eventually became Halloween. That makes sense, right? Christians later incorporated All Souls' Day, which also took aspects of death veneration from Samhain. Of course, in Mexico, we also have Dia de los Muertos, which is another celebration of ancestors and those who have passed on.
You see that there's like this like solidification around like taking these folklore, like these elements of the celebration and these things and bringing it, kind of like trying to like solidify it, but also kind of like Christianize it a little bit too, which is like often what happens. And
super common.
A lot of the pagan holidays are Christianized in very different ways.
Yes, certainly. And then kind of a little bit more about beliefs and lore associated, since we did part of this folklore was actually talking about history, right? Is that many Celtic folks believed that during Samhain, spirits walk the earth, right? Because Brenna said that the veil between worlds is thinnest then. And so this is why people dressed up to ward off any bad spirits. Some traditions say that for Samhain, lighting a bonfire or candle is meant to help light the way for folks who have passed in the last year and help them move on to their next life or their next realm.
Which is so cool. I do love like the melding of like the history and like folklore, and how like, because it's so interesting. I was just like thinking about that, like just even when we were reading through that, just with how like history and folklore are so intermixed, right? Like, because there are these like very like real point, like even when we were talking about the comet, I was thinking about this too, because there's like very real like historical thing, and it's like a fine line, right? Like it just blurs so around it, because history and folklore are just, they're braided together. Like, and I love that, because it just keeps life mysterious and mystical. And I love it.
It sure does.
Okay. So fun Samhain and Halloween facts, quick and dirty, since it's been a long ep. All right. So first thing is, and we're just going to rapid fire go back and forth. Samhain is also notoriously a good time for doing seances, if like that is something you are into. Though I will say, as a practicing witch, as we are practicing witches, if you're going to do a seance, please be safe when you're doing it. Please protect yourself.
But we have done a Samhain seance.
And we have done a Samhain seance. It's definitely, anyone just recommend looking into some protection if you're going to do that before you pop out your Ouija board.
And if you don't know what that looks like, send us an email and we'll tell you.
Yeah.
Samhain is also a good time to create an ancestor altar and set out a plate of food for your lost loved ones. This is called a dumb supper. And the idea is you set a plate and maybe some wine or water, whatever it is, for this lost loved one, and you dine in silence. I usually then move the dish to the altar that I've created, which has photos and little trinkets and things that make me think of the people. I also will like put photos of my dog that I lost. And I like to have a candle per person or being that I'm thinking of on it.
So nice. And I love, I love Samhain so much. Samhain is also referred to as the witch's new year, which is like very fun. And I mean, I guess like, is it because it's like, because we're getting to like the dark part like of the year? Like, I guess I've never really like thought about it too deeply.
Well, it's the end of the harvest season.
So it's like end of like, just like because it's the new year, because it's end of harvest season, it kind of is rolling into that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure.
The concept of black and orange for Halloween stems from Samhain, with black representing death and orange representing the autumn harvest season. Makes a lot of sense.
That is really cool. And I was like, really, that was fun to find out that, like, just the color associations and why. Oh,
You have to get this one.
Yeah, I'm so glad I got this one. Black cats, which are commonly associated with Halloween, were once correlated with the devil, which is dumb, I say, because black cats are awesome, and I have a black cat. His name is Nix, and he's the best.
He's a sweet little baby.
He couldn't be further from anything devilish. I mean, he can be a pain in the ass, as all cats can tend to be at times, but he is perfect. But I love black cats, and you should all love black cats too. They're not scary. They're cute. Thank you for my TED Talk.
And then we wanted to talk just briefly about some trick-or-treating history. There's a lot of debate around the origins of trick-or-treating, but there tend to be 3 theories, so we're just going to go over those pretty quickly. The first theory suggests that during Samhain, Celtic people would leave out food to appease the spirits traveling the earth at night, because, again, the veil between worlds is thinnest then. Over time, people began to dress as these unearthly beings in exchange for similar offerings of food and drink, right? You're trick-or-treating for candy, or what I found the last time I went trick-or-treating with my niece, for adults, there was a little thing of booze.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Little, like, airplane bottles of tequila and bourbon and whatever. Adults get to trick-or-treat too.
The second theory speculates that the candy boon stems from the Scottish practice of guising, which is a secular version of souling. During the Middle Ages, generally children and poor adults would collect food and money from local homes in return for prayers for the dead on All Souls Day. Guisers dropped the prayers in favor of non-religious practices with the inclusions of songs, jokes, and other tricks, which actually is pretty, like, intriguing.
The third and final theory, at least main theory, argues that modern American trick-or-treating stems from bell-snickling. I think that's how that's said.
Yeah.
A German-American Christmas tradition where children would dress in costume and then call on their neighbors to see if the adults could guess the identities of the disguised.
That's fun.
In one version of the practice, the children were rewarded with food or other treats if no one could identify them. That's actually super fun.
That's really fun. Also, Belsnickel is like basically is comparable to Krampus. I do know that because Dwight wrote a short story about like the different variations of Krampus once, and
so fun.
But yeah, the Belsnickel is I guess like the German version of Krampus, I think. But Krampus, I don't know, I can't recall. Like I think
Krampus is Austrian.
So German or Austrian? Yeah, I was gonna say because it's not.
Some of my people.
Yeah. So they're like like there's counterparts or so
certainly.
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of folklore for you. Just a little bit of stuff on Halloween and Samhain. Hope you enjoyed that. And here we go to our final thoughts.
All right, we'll start with Vicki. Oh, Vicki. Girl, like, you didn't even try to make it as a vamp, you know? What's crazy for me is I empathized with her so much. I felt for her so much in episode 6, Lost Girls. And I really struggle to empathize with her in this episode. And I understand she is transitioning into something totally other, and aspects of her former self are heightened, etc. But I also feel like that's almost all just excuses for her continuing to have bad behavior and not thinking things through. And yeah, I just, from top to bottom, I just, you know, I as I asked the question before, like, was this the only way things were going to go? And my answer to it is, it's not necessarily something I wanted to happen to her. And I think that there's a possibility where it didn't happen this quickly.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was going to be a vampire who survived for 145 years.
Yeah.
I just don't see that in the cards for her.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there was definitely, she needed a lot she would have needed a lot more intervention in terms of like maybe some therapy or like just more.
Do you think there are therapists for vampires?
I mean, I would love there to be therapists for
there to be, too.
vampires. There's a story there.
Maybe that's what Uncle, Nephew, Cousin Zach should have done for her.
Yes.
Right? We were talking off camera with Dwight about how we feel like there were missed opportunities for a human who descends from vampires, and I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
They just need some therapy, you know.
I do feel like if our bros, if the Salvatore brothers could have gotten on the same page with Vicky's training, so if the daddy vamps could have like micro and macro level come together, I do think she would have had more of a fighting chance. But as to my previous point, I still think it would have ended this way in some way, shape, or form. It just maybe wouldn't have happened so soon. Big question. Where is Jenna? This feels like an episode she should be in because we're at the Gilbert house. There's, her boyfriend, as far as she knows, I guess, is missing, right? But like we know he's dead, and we haven't seen her in a couple episodes. And where's our girl? This was interesting for me to think about. So we've seen in the past 7 episodes, including this one, that Damon can be impulsive just like Vicki. However, in this episode, we really see him restrain himself and strategize. Like, we know he's strategizing things. We know he has some bigger plan. We don't know what it is yet. And like, obviously he's had 145 years to get this whole like vampire thing down. But it's very cool to see a character that I feel like in some ways personality or proclivities like are parallel to Vicki. Choose a different path.
Sure.
Right? And like, even from the moment with Elena of like, I'm hungry, I smell your blood, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know even if Vicki was further along in her vamp journey, if she would have done that, right? So I feel like that is, for me, an interesting thing.
And maybe going off of kind of what we talked about in the beginning of the episode with the personalities bleeding into their vampiric personality, perhaps Damon. I mean, and we saw a little bit of Damon as a human, and so it's like, I mean, he kind of was coded as like good, like he was coded like good bro, like not necessarily. They were both good brothers, like they were good friends,
very wholesome,
like very wholesome. So it's like, so perhaps like that like erratic nature that Vicki took into her vampire life or her afterlife. Maybe that's why they might have a different way of going about it. Even if, so maybe his like shit behavior was learned, not necessarily a pre-existing, like, not that, I mean, Vicki had a little bit of shit behavior, let's be real, like before pre-vampire. So maybe that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. You talked about this, like your theory a little bit about this with that final scene and Damon coming in to compel away Jeremy's memories. But I do wonder if Damon has remorse over how this shook up. I do think that your theory is certainly plausible. And I absolutely agree with you that he didn't just turn Vicki because he was bored. There's certainly a lot more to that. And he's a lot more death than he wants any of us to catch on to.
Oh, for sure.
Certainly. So I'm curious to see if there's remorse of any kind moving forward, because he's not outwardly showing a ton, but I think you can make the argument, like you are, that maybe some of his actions are showing it. All right. What else? I'm curious to see where things go with Elena and the choices that she will make coming forward, because as I mentioned in one of the final scenes, she lied to Matt. Right? That's step 1. Yeah. She told Stefan she didn't want to lie to people she cared about. Now, step 2, she has Damon literally erase her brother's memories. She's a great protective sister. I don't know if that's an okay thing to do to someone.
Yeah.
Right? Making the choice for him.
Yeah.
Like she says, like he wouldn't like be able to survive this. That's not her choice to make. So
I feel like he would have maybe just agreed to it, and if he did, then I don't know if I would like that would have maybe felt a little bit better,
Yeah.
because he did say because he was looking to like make it not hurt, and you know what I mean, like he was kind of pleading for it to like not hurt anymore. So maybe they should have just asked him. Didn't they like, hey, is it cool if we do this?
I think they should have asked him, right? I do feel like there might be some moral quandaries with our protagonist moving forward. And then I brought this up in the final scene that, it tugs on my heartstrings. Are Stefan and Elena back together? As a Stefan fan, I need to know. Everything feels très messy right now. What do you think, Bren?
Well, she's not having her memories wiped, and she says she doesn't want to forget him. So I'm gonna say,
who would want to forget those abs that we did not see in this episode? Rude,
missed opportunity. I think there's a pathway forward where they're gonna work on it. I think. And I guess we'll find out next episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So for mine, a couple like little final thoughts, hot takes. Logan, hello, where are you? Hello, Logan. I know we kind of like maybe talked about it like very briefly throughout the episode, but it is notable that we get no word of his demise anywhere.
Yeah, and Sheriff Forbes is not.
She's not in this episode, and I just think that that's odd.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put a pin in that. Actually, something that I don't have written here that I was thinking about through the episode is that Elena does not have a scene with Bonnie and Caroline. Like when you think about it, like think about the episode, they do not interact. Like only Bonnie and Caroline have scenes with each other
and
with
others.
Damon with Tyler, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I'm trying to think if there's any other scenes, but I think that's it, right?
You're right.
Oh, and Graham's for Bonnie. Isn't that crazy? I didn't even think about it. It didn't even cross my mind until I was like, wait a second. They don't even talk to Elena once in this episode.
I wonder if the writers were like, if they interact, it's too complicated for us to figure out where they all are.
I mean, I think that was like definitely, I mean, they clearly characters have to, like, if you're going to be dealing with this many characters, there are going to be characters that are siloed in their kind of like own plot lines. So, but it was like interesting that I like didn't even clock that until now.
Yeah.
Like as we were talking about it.
You just blew my mind.
Okay, this is just like the whole set piece of, I kind of talked about it already earlier, but like I loved the whole set piece that was the high school from top to bottom, inside, outside, like the parking lot with the buses, inside the house, like how everything's decked out, just that everybody in Mystic Falls is at this party, adults included, because it's definitely clear from the latter scenes that, everyone's there, it seems. And there's also children there. There's also like people from all ages. So very, very interesting stuff. And I love that everybody, like, not everyone's a costume person, and I understand that.
Stefan's not wearing a costume.
He's also
but that's not his fault. He literally had to rush there.
Yeah, they were rushing there. But
they're wearing their baddie uniforms. They're fine.
Yeah. But the fact that, like, everybody was, like, pretty much committing to the bit here was, like, including Mr. and Mrs. or Mayor and Mrs. Lockwood are also dressed up. Very, very exciting stuff. Love the enthusiasm for Halloween in this town. Okay. So, again, we've already kind of like touched on this, but just we're seeing Damon starting to like team up with the gang to try to fix issues. He's present. Even though he's doing a bad job, but he was like present with Stefan and Vicki to try to like get her adjusted to being a vampire. He does have even as in those earlier scenes, he is showing some like trying to ease her into it and being like, oh yeah, like that will go away at some point. Oh yeah, there's that. Like he's being nice to her, like, and like trying to help in his way. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's interesting. But like they just obviously they have different teaching philosophies. His reconnaissance with Mrs. Lockwood is truly some peak stuff. He is emotionally intelligent. I mean, I think that this character is definitely is pointedly written to be very emotionally intelligent, mm-hmm. and Damon knows it, and we all are seeing it mm-hmm. unfold. And from that emotional intelligence, still somehow makes really horrible decisions at times. But hey, but he seems to be trying. And I do really think that, like, this end of the episode is that sort of, like, I mean, he's got a long way to go. But I think there's wheels turning for him, I think. But yeah. So that's it, I think. So here we go. Favorite line?
Favorite line.
What's yours?
I mean, there's a few real good ones this episode, but mine's going to be, I have to pee. Why do I have to pee? I thought I was dead.
That's pretty good. I love that.
You know what? As I was talking about Mrs. Lockwood earlier having good questions, Vicki's got a good question. Why do I have to pee?
I don't know. I'm excited.
I genuinely don't know the answer.
I am excited to add this to our ongoing. Like, I really want to make sure that we keep a we have already a list, but I want to, like, do, like, an official document where we really compile all the vampire lore. I think we need to do that.
What about you, Bren?
All right. So mine is Miss Bonnie Bennett. Don't be bitter. It provokes wrinkles.
So good.
Just
so good. All right. And then last but not least, fuck, marry, kill.
All right.
Are you ready?
Am I ready?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, hold on. Let's think about it.
I would fuck Vicki.
Okay.
Because she's in that vamp outfit, those boots, she's looking good.
Yeah, she is.
I would marry... you know what? I was torn between Stefan and Grams, honestly, because she teaches a cult at the university. But I think I'm erring on my safe choice, my usual choice, Stefan, because Elena, when she says to him, like, I do want to forget this, it would be easier for me. And he genuinely is like, okay, if that's what you want. And him constantly respecting her boundaries and her agency and her choices, I mean, it's hot. And it's, like, refreshing.
Yeah.
And so I would marry him for that. And then who am I going to kill? Well, I can't kill Vicki because I'm boning her, but also she's dead. So I think we're going to kill Matt just because I'm so annoyed with him this episode. Like, he's just in the hallway at school, and I'm over his overly protective brother act. However, I do have sympathy for the fact that his sister's dead twice now. She was dead, then she was undead, and now she's dead. And I do feel for him, but in this moment, I just want him to go away for a little bit and stop trying to, like, threaten and demonize Stefan. My other thought was Mayor Lockwood, because he's mean to Mrs. Lockwood. He's like, how many drinks have you had?
Yeah.
It's like, shut the fuck up.
Well, don't worry, because here comes my takes. Okay. So, fuck. You know who was looking nice, who was actually shirtless in this episode? Tyler. So I think I'm just...
Honestly, it crossed my mind.
So I'm like, all right, Tyler, but in the Spartan outfit, though.
Yeah.
You know
Are you going to accept his cider, the Lockwood special?
I don't know. Depends. I'd have to smell it first and then decide. I think I'm going to marry Mrs. Lockwood.
Okay, tell me why.
Because one, her martini game is litty, and this actually is related to my kill, which is killing Mr. Lockwood, because then I could just swoop in and marry Mrs. Lockwood. We can live in that bunch of room pad that has all the rooms where we could talk about all the vampires in, and also just, like, drink martinis around the house. I mean, we don't have to go to the grill. We can just, like, concoct it up at home. You know what I mean? And any room, really. There's a lot there. We can go through all the historical shit.
She sure can. I love it. I love it. Well, you know, I think we did it.
We did it.
It's always such a treat to chat with you. And so I just wanted to say thanks to you, and thanks to our husbands, Alex Schneider and Dwight Evan Young, for giving us beautiful designs and production and doing all of these other things that, like, allows us to just basically get dressed up and just giggle on camera for 2 hours. So
yeah, they really are, like, the unsung heroes of this podcast. Like, the more that we get into this process and the more we keep working on it, like, they are doing the most, and it is all behind the scenes, but hopefully we'll coax them on screen at some point so then they can get the love that they deserve.
Fellow Sister Podcast family.
Yeah. So thank you to them, and thank you to you for also just being here with me. This is we're recording this. It's very late, everybody, and this is like way past Christina's bedtime. It's like almost getting past my bedtime. So we really just went hard in the paint for Halloween, which okay. But also to end, thank you for listening to Hello Sister. Bye. Hello Sister is written, directed, and hosted by Christina Rosso-Schneider and Brenna Dinon. Graphic designs are by Alex Schneider. Music is written and produced by Dwight Evan Young. Sound design and video are recorded and produced by Dwight Evan Young and Brenna Dinon. Hello Sister Podcast is a Bad Day Media production.
That's actually, honestly, so that's under 3 hours total.
Yeah.
Oh, that's still a lot.
That's really fucking long.